NUFC Early Night News with Gary the Geordie Yum Yum, Andrew Boaky, Christina Cage, and Derek the Mighty Wind. Weekdays from 8 p.m. UK, 2 p.m. USA. NUFC Talk.
Good evening. Welcome to NUFC Talk Radio. To everybody across the Northeast, if you're listening on DAB Radio. With myself, the Geordie Yum Yum, we've got Christina Tooney and we've got the Mighty Win. No Boaky.
Rose between two thorns.
Indeed. I bet she's been called worse than that, though.
Definitely.
Obviously, Boaky might give us a bit of a stint during his half-hour lunch. We'll see. We'll see. He may pop up just. I look like I've got a quiff. Gone are the days when I used to have a quiff.
Superman.
Yeah, my hair's gone all a bit poofy. So welcome one and all. Like I say, Viewerland, they're watching with us. Like I say, those that are listening across the Northeast on DAB Radio. If I could ask you lovely people out there, obviously, to smash the likes, ring the bell, and subscribe if you haven't already. Where have you been? Lots of news out there again today. Again, some of it you have to tongue in cheek, and again, certain people are always going to knock us while the time is nigh, I suppose. Let's get into my ditty before we get into today's show then.
Yay.
So 7-2 in Barca. It's seen less damage done in a boxing match than a derby defeat, because of course, why not really lean into the misery? And yet somehow Eddie Howe still got the backing, which in football terms basically means you're doing great, but also please change absolutely everything immediately. So tonight we're asking, is this calm leadership or the world's politest warning shot? Get involved, because I've got a feeling this could get spicy tonight with these two, especially. Well, one of these two, especially. Listen, there's a lot more to talk about. Obviously, there's some rubbish that I've listened to from Richard Keys, who believes, whatever he's heard, it's going to be sold. It's up for sale. And like I say, I'm sure the lads will dig deeper in during the later show. But for me, I just want to obviously do a little bit of a deep dive into the backing of Eddie Howe. Let's not dress it up. Obviously, because fans won't, and I think that is the big thing here. Obviously, I've mentioned, as we're all aware now, 7-2 in Barca, derby defeat. A double this season to our local rivals. A fan base that's gone from dreaming to fuming, literally in a space of a week. But here's the twist: despite all that noise, all that anger, and all that he's got to go chat online, Eddie Howe's going nowhere. Not today. Not this week, not even close. In fact, behind the scenes, it's been all found to the hierarchy and they've backed him. But it's a big but. There's now an understanding, an agreement in line in the sand. Things have to change. Not just the players, not just recruitment, but him. So tonight, we're asking, is Eddie Howe still the right man for the next step? What actually needs to change, and are we looking at evolution or the beginning of the end? So get your comments in, get the calls ready. I'm sure the lads may put the phones on. It's a shame we can't, because I'd love to listen to you guys. So like I say, we can't put the phone line in. But I do want to listen to you guys in the chat, because like I say, I'm sure there's a few of you that are fuming even more than you was yesterday. So let's have a look, again, a week from hell, because that's literally where it's gone for me. Let's set the scene, if you like. This wasn't just a bad week, it was a reality check. We were torn apart in Europe, outplayed, outthought and outclassed, then emotionally drained and beaten again in a derby. And it's not just the results, it's the manner of them. Flat, predictable, open, and at times very naive. So, Christina, I haven't got Mighty at the moment. I'll ask you, was this the worst week under Eddie Howe for a Newcastle fan? And did it expose deeper issues that we I suppose, have all been ignoring.
I think it's definitely been the worst week that I can remember as a Newcastle fan under Eddie Howe. We've had some sensational highs at the club since Eddie Howe has been manager. And this week, that wasn't it. I think, to be fair, Barcelona's Barcelona. 7-2 is a horrible result, but Barcelona's Barcelona. It was at the Camp Nou. They came out in that second half and absolutely tore us apart. And our second half performance, as it has done a lot this season, does need questioned, does need looked at. There was rumours of arguments, there was rumours of dissension, and then they came out in the second half, and I don't think any of the players really looked anywhere near their best. But we went from that, and I know a lot of fans were very angry about that, and I can get that because it's never nice to lose by that big a goal margin. But, I could kind of accept it as, look, it's Barcelona. Sometimes against teams like this, you're going to get a bit of a spanking sometimes. We're not Manchester City, we're not Real Madrid, we're not in that Barcelona league right now. What has put the brakes on for a lot of fans, though, I think, is the Sunderland game, which is a game that a lot of fans, and you can see the chat already very much going wild. I think there's still a lot of anger among the fan base after that match. There's a lot of, Newcastle-based podcasts who are still very up in arms about it. And, I think that was always going to happen, losing to Sunderland. There is caveats that you can put into it, like the fact that, we lost that game in midfield for me. I was talking about it yesterday, how I could have driven my car through the gaps that we were leaving. And if you look at it realistically, we were missing our two main starting midfielders. And I'm not making excuses for that, because there isn't an excuse for how the performance went in the second half. But I think we do need to look at it and say, okay, we were missing our two main midfielders. We did get beaten midfield. But yeah, that doesn't cushion or put a band-aid over the pain. And I know a lot of fans are feeling a lot of pain. I was walking around today with a group of Newcastle fans, and there was still that balance that you get all the time of I don't think we should overreact to this, or I don't think Eddie Howe's time's done. And then some people just absolutely furious about that result, and it's always going to be that Sunderland game. And I think, and the thing is, a lot of people have complained about Eddie Howe not understanding that match, and I think the problem is, outside of your Keegans and your Robsons and maybe your Alan Shearers, I don't know if there is a manager out there who would genuinely understand how raw the pain is for a large section of Newcastle fans this week.
I think if you're new to the area, I understand that. But after being involved in the North East for several years now, Eddie Howe, and obviously having already faced them in a cup competition, having lost to them at the Stadium of Light, if he doesn't understand what it means to fans after the win in the cup competition, you could see, it was just a lift for everybody. But then losing at the Stadium of Light to that own goal, it wasn't the loss that I think concerned everybody. It was literally how non-energised the players were, and I think that.
We had no fight in that first game.
Yeah, we to be fair, we didn't have any fight in the second half of the second game, and I think
no, fair.
you've got to start asking the questions, and I think this is where local lads often say, "Where's the spirit? Where's that fight? Where's that passion?" Alan Shearer's been critiqued a number of times, but I think. When you're a local lad, is that the reasons why you put Dan Burn in? He wanted that local rivalry within the field of 11, that hunger, that bite, and sometimes it backfires on you, and it certainly did on Sunday. Wyn, what's your thoughts, mate, on these so-called backing of Sir Edward Howe compared to you? I like it.
Well,
I saw this.
That's my thoughts, which I did, to be fair, in conjunction with good old AI. took a while. Abysmal black and white cowards delivering embarrassing, feeble gutlessness. Hapless Howe's inept, jaded, cack-handed lineup, muddling non-tactics, outdated personnel, questionable replacements, shockingly timid underperformance, veritably weak, X-rated, yellow-bellied zero.
So is that you saying Eddie in?
Was the A to Z of shame which I spent not a little while putting together. Was it the worst week since Eddie's come? I can't think of a worse one off the top of my head, to be honest.
No.
So
Well, exactly.
I would certainly go along with that.
I don't know what's happened to Christina. She's gone all orange. So
Yeah,
I'm just going to
never mind.
remove that because
We'll
I'm
get it back.
just gone ping.
So we'll just mute her for the time being. I think.
Yeah, we'll see if she what's happening behind the scenes. She may have to reboot. Anyway, I agree, mate. I can't remember a worst feeling as a fan. I mean, listen, we've been down in the doldrums a lot of times, mate. You know, but this hurts. I don't know what it is about this. Is it the fact that we've come to realise that we are probably where we should be in the Premier League after overachieving?
We are where we are, certainly in the Premier League. Where we end up is yet to be decided. But if you were to extrapolate the last two performances and take them forward, you wouldn't imagine we're getting many points from the remainder of the games. However, there's other games that we've seen us, play well, and typical Newcastle, as it has been demonstrated myriad times in the past, just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water, boom, 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 along we come again, which is obviously what I'm hoping for. Am I confident that it's going to happen? Not a lot. But again, as I was pointing out today, you look at everybody is pointing to the statistics. 22 points lost from winning positions. 26 goals conceded. 85 minutes plus. And these are recurring themes that appear not to be being addressed. And if Eddie cannot address them, then we will end up where we are. And as I've said all along, we have to be challenging for you.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I think
so. That's where we are. We've got 7 games to save the season. Is what we've got left.
Yeah, indeed. I'm just going to go to a couple in the chat because there's been some good ones. David Carmichael, Eddie is inept. Backroom team, especially the set piece coach, need to go. We have been absolutely dire. Oh, and take your mates Trippier and the rest of the geriatrics with you, included Win. Get out of it. Thanks, David. Lee Dixon. It's not just about the game; it's about the season. Even last season, we weren't great. Take your blinkers off. Yeah, I think again, you start to see, even though we had a great.
The only thing I would say, right, is 22 points lost from winning positions. We got into those winning positions. So whatever Eddie was doing, that's the hard bit in the game. The hard bit in the game is taking the lead. I think anybody would agree that it should be easier to defend a lead than it is to score a goal.
Not if you're in a black and white shirt. We're looking capable of defending.
This is what the enigma wrapped in a in a doodah day
Yeah.
is the conundrum is all about, because if somebody was to say to you, you're going into this game, we'll get you a goal start. You would you would fancy your chances, unless you're playing some really top outfit, of being able to defend the lead. The defender, he hasn't, any ball, just get it away, kick it away, do anything, get rid of the ball. But to get the goal, you've got to get that ball on target, beat the keeper, and everything that goes with scoring a goal. So how many games have we played where, for example, we went behind and said, that they've got the lead to defend. It's going to make it much easier for them. They don't have to come out at us anymore. But we just seem incapable of doing that, and it's baffling to me. Absolutely.
But you know what was baffling to me, and it's going to sound really crazy, but we were all screaming for Malik Chow to get a break out of the game. Yeah, so off he goes on that suspension. Remember where he couldn't play?
Yeah.
Up until that time, the lad was potentially one of the players of the match. Consistently, he was up there as a talking point throughout the game. Now, I don't know what's happened to that lad since his return from his little hiatus, because he certainly isn't on the lips of people now in a positive way. It's more very much, a negative, if you like. Prosaic, he's gifted a membership. Thank you again. Like I say, it's a good job Tina ain't here, because she'd be Prozac another night. But that has gone to. I haven't got it in front of me at the minute. So you got it there. There you go. Oh, balls,
Amos.
Yeah. Well done. You know what? I used to have.
Balls, Amos.
Yeah, exactly. I used to be. That used to be a joke of mine when one of the matrons used to call us on a night time and ask us if we're okay. I used to pick the phone up and say, balls and bearings. And she used to go, I've rung the wrong number. And I'm like, no, it's not, it's me. Anyway, that's a different show. So, yeah, I mean, it is crazy to think how players justify their return of having got this downtime and just not being able to hit the high notes again. We've looked inept at times regarding our defensive ability, making some absolutely strange and crazy decisions. And you've only got to go and have a look. And like I said, Jeff O was absolutely spot on the other week on the 90s mags when he was talking about the Barcelona game and Dani Olmo getting the last minute penalty. And it was literally, stupid mistakes that just stop all that hard work. All that graft that you've done for 90 minutes has gone out the window because of carelessness during literally a 10-second episode. And I just think we have to start looking at what happened to a team not so long back. And you remember this because you recognise it all the time, because Dan Burn was left back. We had the best defence in the Premier League. One of the best defensive records in the Premier League with a non-left back playing left back. Yeah. And now we like I say, it doesn't matter what Eddie Howe puts into that team or injects into that back four. And this is what I can't understand, why there's so many chops and changes when you haven't got the competition anymore. You're out of all the cup games. You're out of everything else apart from the Premier League, and yet you put a team out that is totally different. Well, 2 out of the 4, so 50% of the defensive forward is different from the team that worked so hard and well.
Well, there was a lot of debate, wasn't there, for the Barcelona game, because we'd just been to Chelsea, and we had come on to a 1-goal lead with Livramento Chow, Botman, and Hall. And the question was, why change that? Why introduce Trippier and Byrne? And the result was, there for all to see, we got hammered 7-2. So the one defence worked against Chelsea. Now, okay, we've since discovered Botman is crocked and, surgery again, so he can't come back. But it's baffling. Why make unenforced changes, shall we say? Because what we also discovered is that when Tino came back, when, I put the stats up in show last week, with Tino and Hall at fullback, the results are so much better. We kept 5 out of the 7 clean sheets that we've had with both of those in position. So when they're available, why the hell not play them? It doesn't make any. It's another Eddie sort of foible.
Yeah, it's mental. I'm glad you're back. You reminded me of Graham Turner for a minute there. Oh, do I not like orange? Was on my mind when I saw that big orange screen come up on your end.
Well, there's one of those worst things that I've been called, except for a rose in between two thorns, isn't it?
Yeah, there you go.
My apologies for that.
Yeah, you look better looking than Graham Turner, I must admit. Let's have a quick look.
I'll take it.
At the Bevis. When Howe blamed PSR. That was it for me. The man's been given the 3rd highest Premier League spend since he got the job.
No, he hasn't.
Now, listen. There's going to be everybody's going to have a look at this statement of his, and I must admit it does anger me when you think you've been more successful with a lesser team than you have spending whatever amount of money it has been, right? And both myself and yourself, Win, said we've got a stronger side, right? A stronger squad.
Yep.
So when you put that on paper, is it just the fact that they've been duds? Is it the fact that he's literally just bought duds within this big spend of his? The lads that he expected to come and hit the ground running because they're Premier proven, literally have hit the ground on their hands and knees, not running at all.
Well.
I mean, I like the whole.
By the way, out of the big spend, there was only 3 of them who were Premier League proven. Walter Mara wasn't, and Chow wasn't. So there was only Alanga, Ramsey, and Wissa. Wissa's been injured for the vast part of the season. Alanga has been the biggest disappointment of the lot for me. Ramsey was injured to start with, again. And then he has kind of looked as though he's growing into the role. So not hit the ground running, which you would kind of expect for a Premier League proven player. But yeah, I think it's fair to say that his summer signings have not come off. But again, I think, they weren't all first choice. They were kind of last minute scrambles, weren't they?
Yeah. But
apart from Alanga,
I was going to say Alanga's been on the books for 2 seasons.
Yeah, he's been on the radar.
I think I can't remember the exact words that he mentioned during one of his conferences. It was something like not being able to spend 4 out of 5 windows or something like that. Hasn't really helped us at all. And and he did go on to say every club needs to be refreshed, with every opportunity they can get. And obviously I was looking at some of the reports literally just
but he also said, by the way, at the end of last season, I think it was one of his last press conferences at the end of last season, he says, we need to be able to go into market, do our business early so that we've got a full season's training, a full pre-season in everybody before we start. Out of all of the players, there was only Alanga who was in, anywhere near at the start of the season. Ramsey came halfway through, but he got injured straight away. Wissa was injured before he could get a start, which leaves the two non-Premier League players who came in. And I think, listen, I've got every faith that Walter Morta's going to come good, but he definitely has lost the... He hasn't got used to the Premier, I don't think.
No, I think it was, like I say, I think it was a bit of luck the first 6 in 9 games. But I mean, he finished beautifully in front of goal. Like I say,
well,
some of them goals
the point was then he was an unknown quantity.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the teams that were coming up against to play next, they'd watch them then and what did they all do? They all just put 3 men on him because they knew that we had nothing else up top. And if you stifle him, you stifle Newcastle, because he was the only one scoring goals. So that was literally what the opposition coaches did. They just put 3 men on him, nullified him, and with the way he plays, not creating any press at all, it meant we were absolutely toothless.
Golfing Geordie with one air PIF not starting big projects like the new stadium just fuels that PIF want to sell because other clubs are developing in less time than NUFC. I must admit, Dan put that report into the chat earlier on, and it was a very interesting read. All stats from season 23-24, to be fair, but you could see the difference that Newcastle have to make.
Could do if you want. Are you going to monitor it?
What's that? Oh, you're talking to Chris. We can all hear you. I wonder who you're talking to there, lad.
I'm wondering.
Right. So here we go. Let's have a quick look at where we are. Oh, there you go then. Chris is talking to us.
We've
There
got
you
a
go.
switchboard.
The call is there. So like I say, Chris.
And a super chat.
This is via Chris. Thanks, Bevis. Need to say that this club missing out on their first, second and third target is standard for most clubs outside the Big Six. Howe also says no to players. Listen, like I said, there's no excuse. We all knew his targets wanted to go to bigger clubs. That is, that was obvious. Bigger clubs offer bigger money, and Newcastle just can't do that. When you look at the figures, the so-called other United are offering, or potentially offering, Bruno Guimaraes. Newcastle are now saying that they want to be, to tie him down to Newcastle and be the first player over 200 grand a week. If they're proposing 345, where are you going to go with?
Yeah.
It's impossible to even, not only this time in his career now, because this is potentially, whatever he does, it's going to be his last contract, isn't it?
Well, listen, if you want to have your say, call in now, 0191 916 8864. 0191 916 8864. Let us know what you think about what has been possibly the worst week for Newcastle United in 5 years.
Yeah, so, for me, this is where it gets interesting, I suppose, because reports from people with actual connections, not guesswork merchants, are all aligned. And what they're saying is, Howe's job is safe, but there's an added layer now. So with this added layer, there is an expectation of change. This is not blind loyalty. This is a calculated backing. So this is a manager being supported with conditions. So what I want to ask you guys, as well as people out there on now can call in, is this how a serious club operates? And should they have been a little bit more ruthless? Or is it just about stability, the smart move? Is it a case of we know what this guy gives us and what he's given us in the past? So is it now just a case of being stable? Is it about just making sure that we don't be like the other United and just make a rash decision and before you
There's
know
only
it,
one United.
you know,
Well,
absolutely.
apart from that, it's not just the other United, is it? How many
Well, no.
teams do
Yeah,
we
yeah.
see just go through new manager after new manager after new? And where does, with the exception, I would argue that with the exception of Abramovich's Chelsea, where he was totally ruthless, but he had an absolutely open checkbook that we don't have. And basically, if you didn't win the league or the Champions League, you were on your bike because that was where they expected to be. And that worked, by the way.
They signed some unreal players in that time period as well. If you look back on it, I think people forget the players they signed. Hernan Crespo, Shevchenko in the same season. Like, what? But I mean, in regards to like the Eddie Howe stability, I think we have to remember that last summer there was turmoil. There was like we didn't have a DOF, we didn't have a CEO. Now we've got them. I think the wrong thing for them to have done would to have been to have came in and instantly put pressure on Eddie Howe. Because you're just rocking the boat that at that point certainly did not need to be rocked. Now they've had a bit of time to establish themselves and get their feet under the desk, so to speak. And now they can start like looking at fan reaction, looking at results, maybe putting a few more layers, as you've said, in place. I think now would be the time to start setting goals. I think Hopkinson coming out at the time that he did was the wrong time for him to come out and say any of that. I think the fact that he came out and started talking about 2030 like he'd been part of the project since the days of Amanda Staveley was a misstep on his part. But I think that interview as well just kind of proved that he didn't really give a lot of it. It was a very wishy-washy, as much as it was as positive as a Christina Cage podcast. It was a little bit wishy-washy. He didn't really give any solid answers. He didn't really, he was just saying, oh yeah, we've got a plan and we're going to do this, but he didn't set any goals or anything except for we're going to be the biggest team in the world by 2030. In hindsight, maybe a bit more optimistic than even I would have been. But I think now that he's established that if that is going to be the backroom staff going forward, then now is the time that they can look at Eddie Howe and say, okay, look, this is what you've done, this is great. This is what's happened when we've been in Europe. We need to have a conversation now to see if we can fix this moving forward. Because that's what this needs to come down to. Is Eddie Howe an incompetent manager? Absolutely not. Has he given us our best years well, definitely in my lifetime? Absolutely. Can we continue to build as a team if every time we get into Europe, we can't then get back into the top 6 in the league? Absolutely not. So, yes, we're still building, and yes, we're still a transitional team, but there does now need to be some building block. We've had a great run, 4 years of absolute dream world. But we need to build some actual foundations right now, because our foundations as it stands is a couple of sticks stuck in sand. We need to have a bigger vision than that, and we need to know why we're failing when we go to Europe, or why our league form's dropping off when we go to Europe, I should say. And that needs to be. I think if we sorted that out, everyone's probably happy with Eddie Howe. If we get the recruitment right in the summer and then next season we go into it. But there are still going to be a section of fans at the end of this season, if we don't qualify for Europe, who are going to start next season, regardless of our summer, with, a rod already out for Eddie Howe's back, I would think.
Yeah, there's a question here regarding Eddie Howe. This is from Connor, who's just sent it me via email. If Howe does good over these last 7 games with 1 game a week, does it prove he's a 1 game a week manager?
And that's the thing. My argument, as you know, has been, let's assume we don't qualify for Europe. Who is the proven Premiership best manager by a mile with 1 game a week, no Europe. It's Eddie Howe, because every time he's done it, we've finished in the Champions League. But that still doesn't. It doesn't answer the bigger question.
Sorry.
So so we'll stick with Eddie next season. We'll have a fantastic league season. Finish in the Champions League, 4th, 5th, 3rd, whatever. Maybe he's even challenging. Do you then sack him? And there's an argument to say yes, you do.
Yeah, absolutely there is. Tina, what was your thoughts?
No, I was just going to say that was a point I had brought up earlier in the season to, I think it was one of the chats when we had Boaky, and Boaky was talking about Eddie Howe not being able to deal with this schedule, which I think Eddie Howe has also mentioned himself. So then the exact question that I was stuck with there, the conundrum I had is, well, if we then don't qualify for Europe, surely on proven track record, Eddie Howe gets us back into Europe this season following that. But then, because we've already seen twice in a row that the season in Europe, do we then move him on after he's just qualified for Europe for us? Like that's a weird catch-22 to be in. Do you replace him?
You've then got a situation where you've got a
manager.
You've got a manager who's got the 2 cup finals, won your only silverware in 70 years, and in the 5 full seasons he's been there, he will have qualified for Europe in 3 of them. It's kind of a bit weird, isn't it? But seriously,
you've still got that drop off when we are in Europe.
Yeah, massively.
Yeah, but I think that's a conversation that may need to be had.
Well, I think.
Can we maybe have like a tag team manager? Like where when we're not in Europe, we tag Eddie back in, get us back into Europe, and then when he's when we do get into Europe, he tags out, has a year off, goes and sits in the sun in Spain or something, and we have a manager who can manage in the Champions League for that season.
Paul Sprague saying, so you've answered your own question then when about Eddie. He can't take us any further when we're in Europe. No, but we still got to get to Europe in the first place, and he's the best. He's the best guy to do that. I still haven't written off Europe, by the way.
Avit is
by a long
if you're missing your 2 main midfielders...
Listen, I'm not having any excuse at all for Sunday about Bruno, Tonali, etc. Sunderland had 6 of their first team unavailable. So don't get... even I am not accepting any injuries or absences as an excuse for Sunday's performance.
Let me just finish this one. You won't be able to control the game as you usually do or play usual change tactic formation. Problem is how doesn't. And I think going back to where we were before.
Just 2 seconds, Gary. We've got Chris from London on the phone, my old nemesis.
Chrissy!
Chris, how are you doing?
Oh, mate, I don't think I'm your nemesis, mate. You got to remember, I made it laugh the other day. I spoke to Chris the other day, and obviously you weren't online. Someone called me a cockney. I thought that was quite entertaining when, seeming as me and you both know, my grandfather's from North Shields, my dad's from North Shields. I was born in Biker. Just because I sound English, what part of me is Southern? Apart from my mother, what part of that would be Southern?
Well, just your accent, to be fair, Chris.
Yeah, that's Chris. You're like me being a Brummie, mate. I was close to Birmingham.
It's like that, mate. I did have a Geordie accent, but my mum's mum is a rich lady, and she paid to get rid of my accent when I was about 12.
She paid
so
to
even
get
if
you
I
that
tried
accent.
to pretend to be a Geordie, it just it sounds stupid if I tried to pretend to sound like I don't sound anymore.
No,
here's the question I want to ask you.
I'd be getting your granny's money back.
Like the board, right?
Yeah.
Right, this is what I'll ask you, Tina and Gary, because the whole reason I want to come and ask Gary this. We've heard from the board, Gary, you said there's some kind of stipulations, isn't there, for him staying? Now, there will be stipulations.
Something we're going to get into in a minute, yeah.
Yeah. Here's the question I want to ask you, mate. Today, I was trying to be biased, and I went through our fixture list. Did you know that there's a common denominator each month from Newcastle's results, except for 1 month. In every month that Newcastle United has played this season in the Premier League, they have won 1 game. Only in 1 month, which conceded to the next month, have Newcastle actually won 3 games in a row.
Yeah.
So here's my question to you. If I was going to hire you to be a swimming instructor, but I knew that the people in the pool might drown, would I keep you on?
Well, it depends on whether.
Oh, there's a weird analogy.
Yeah.
No, what I'm saying is, Win, you got to understand.
I suppose.
You could go through from August till now, yeah? There is only 1 month that Newcastle has won more than 1 league game.
Yeah.
Right.
Listen,
I'm-
Chris,
I'm-
So if this manager is a 1 game a month manager, how on earth does he deserve to keep his job?
well, that's the big question, isn't it? And that's why we were saying yesterday, the decision has to be made. Now, again, according to a lot of the journals, and that's what I've just said, these aren't just rumours of social media. These are reported from people in the know that there has been a conversation with the hierarchy.
So when we mean people in the know, Gary, do we actually mean, what's his name? The guy, Craig Hope? Is that who we're on about, right? Because the other guy that said a story, I wouldn't believe a word he says.
Yeah, the only
Luke
information
Edwards?
I have got, the only information I have got, this is from people that have an insight knowledge to what's going on behind the scenes. So that's all I can say.
You know
That's
what I
all
mean?
the information that I have.
That thing with Richard Keys, Gary, I would rather leave my kid with it out in the road, mate, to listen to a damn word that he says. Because that guy has come up with so many false stories over the time, like, we're not getting taken over. Oh, hang on, we got took over. So he's never come out with anything incredible. Now, the fact is,
he's got very little
if we're part of
credibility.
the 2030 project, no, I'll just say, if we're part of the 2030 project, are we getting sold? I know they're selling the Saudi clubs because they don't want them no more. They're closing down the Saudi league, where they're not going to be a part of it anymore.
Yeah, I think
what they call it is it El Attiyad or El Halal, the team that Nunes plays for. They're publicly up for sale.
There's 4 of them, and they reckon one will be sold before the end of the season, and the rest of them will go by the end of the year.
I'm not one of the fans that's going to blame the owners, Gary, because the fact is we both know they have got a lot on at the moment because Saudi Arabia has gotten involved in this war with Iran.
Exactly.
So obviously we're not really going to hear a lot from them because this war that's going on affects Saudi quite a lot because it's around their border region. So
the Middle East is under.
But I would like to hear from the CEO because I think he takes laughing gas and just walks around saying whatever he thinks when he's high as a kite.
But Chris, if you're anything like myself, I think that is it. Words are cheap, mate, isn't it? And I think that is where we are.
Yeah, they are, mate.
Fans,
right. You've worked in football. I played football till I bust my knee, and then I went to work at Arsenal because my cousin offered me a job. Yeah. So I worked for a very long time. I met Arsene Wenger. I left just after Arteta came in. I've seen football teams get high and then crash down. At the end of the day, I do security for a living, Gary. So I work in football stadiums or I work at live events, and I try to make as much money as I can. So I've always been a diehard Newcastle fan. It comes first, really, but I don't get to go up north because I work weekends a lot. So to get up to Newcastle, even if I wanted to go and stay like my brother lives up in North Shields now, like I just don't get the time, unfortunately, because my work, as you know, when you work doors and that, it's like Tuesday, Thursday, and then the weekend. So I'd love to see more. That's why I watch on TV. Now, I've been at one match this season, and that was at, I don't know, was it Fulham? Yeah, Fulham. I went with my mate. He got me a ticket up there. But I just don't get it, mate. Like, we're a team that, I get it, we've had a pass to Checky because I was lucky enough to support Newcastle just before Ozzy got kicked out, and when we had the good times with Keegan, and then we had a little bit of a bad time, and then Robson coming gave us a little bit of hope, and even Pardew gave us a little bit of hope when we were in the UEFA Cup. We had a little bit of a shiny help. But
interesting though,
with
isn't
the money that we have, right, Gary, with the money we have, it's a hell of a lot more than what Ashley was ever going to hand over. I just think it's poor recruitment. Now, if Eddie wants to stay, can the club sack his nephew?
No, I think
Well,
it's
they've just appointed a new director of football. That's who they'll back.
well,
Yeah.
it's him. It's obviously him who's going to be pulling the strings now, and this is what, if you like,
Yeah,
there
because-
is a little bit of doubt about. We talk about talk is cheap. He seems too much of a nice
Yeah.
man at this present moment
Talking
in time. And like I
chips?
said, talking cheap, no chips, cheesy chips.
Yeah.
And if you look at the way he acts here, we saw him on Talk Sport where he was coming across and talking about the
Yeah.
2030 project. We want to be the best in the world. How do you sit down with a guy who's not achieving, who's not getting where you want to be? Are you just going to be Mr. Nice Guy? Are you going to give him opportunities to fail, or are you going to actually give him a kick up the backside and tell the players that they're getting paid a lot of money to wear a
I'll
black
tell
and
you,
white
Gary,
shirt
when you finish,
and
mate,
get
I'll
out
tell
there
you
and
what I'm
work?
going to tell him. I'm going to sit him down, yeah, and I'm not going to listen to any of the fans. I'm going to sit him down. I'm going to look at the work that he's done this season. I'm going to look throughout the season, and I'm going to sit him down and go, look, unfortunately, you are going to have to improve or we're going to go our separate ways. Because for what and what we want to be, if you cannot keep up with what we want to be, unfortunately, we're going to go in different directions. Tell him.
Exactly, and I think that is exactly where we are. And Chris, just before we say goodbye, I listen to you a lot, mate, when you phone in to the show, and it's lovely to actually get a chance to say hello to you. I am going to go on to my next spiel now, and we're going to talk about change, because not everybody likes change, mate. Chris, it's been lovely speaking to you, buddy. Keep listening. Away the lads. So
you
we're
later,
going to
kid.
talk. Cheers, buddy.
Take care,
So
Chris.
let's have a quick look then at what this, whatever's been discussed with Eddie Howe from the hierarchy. We've got to think about, let's change sounds nice, but what does it actually mean? Tactical flexibility for me. Too predictable. Some of the words that we've heard this season from a lot of the fan base. Too stubborn with the high press. Only literally got one play to what the way we play. Getting exposed by better sides and weaker sides, especially in the second half, where they make a slight tweak to their tactical approach against our press, and they cut straight through us. I mean, we've already heard from Tina saying she could virtually drive a car
So
through.
what have you
midfield.
actually heard because I've read just a couple of little reports about what the board have said in relation to backing Eddie and what the conditions are, because I'm interested in that.
Yeah, exactly. But this is what I'm saying. When you listen to some of the reports that are out there, there is nothing from what I've seen, mate, and I'll be honest with you, that make me believe that anything that was said to Eddie Howe is going to be leaked. And that's what I'm saying. When you look at change means a number of things. And whatever change happens, and the reasons why I'm pointing down this tactical flexibility situation is because we know Eddie isn't. Eddie is very solid and consistent with his 4-3-3 flexible system, where he wants players to play. And I was listening to Antonio earlier on while I was doing the work for this, and Antonio made an absolute great point. And we've mentioned it many a time before, where you look at one technical player that you see in a lot of other teams that is just allowed to play. Just go and express yourself on the field of play. Something you don't ever see at Newcastle. Yeah, you just don't see it at Newcastle anymore. There's nobody with that flexibility, that freedom, just to go and play. Everybody's so regimented within the style of football that Eddie Howe wants. So what you have to ask yourself is, Eddie, you mentioned it the other day, where is plan B? Now, plan B doesn't have to be a complete overhaul of your style of play. It just needs to be, as Lebris did against us, small tweaks to the system that you've got on the field of play. Eddie Howe goes like for like player And sometimes the like-for-like player is a lesser ability player coming onto the field. So what is he expecting apart from legs? That's what I'm asking.
I just think there's a lot, far too much credence being given to the fact that Labrie made a master stroke tactical change. I don't think he did. I think just our players didn't want the ball as much as their players did. It was as simple as
you've still got to make yourself available, Win, and that's what I said. When you've got players that have played out on the wing for the first half, and then all of a sudden you get them playing inverted, all of a sudden then our midfield, where we were squeezing that midfield width, if you like, so we were trying to stop them going wide and trying to drill the ball up to Brobby. And it worked a couple of times for them, but it didn't work all the time. So what he did in that second half, if you watch the game back, he just inverted his wide men to come inside a little bit. And then it's a diagonal ball that cut us wide open. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes you don't need to change the world to get things right. You just have to unhinge the opposition coach to make a change. And that's what happened with Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe won the first half because of his tactical awareness. That press really went well. But the second half, with a little tweak from the opposition on how to break the press, we were at 6s and 7s.
Well, again, I don't know if I go along with that. I think it's, at the end of the day, it's down to the players. And you can... these little tactical tweaks that we keep on getting told everybody else has got now hasn't got. I don't know if I buy into all of that, to be honest.
Okay.
To me, it's down to the players, and winning second balls, winning first balls, winning second balls, and passing the ball forward instead of backwards. And that was what Sunderland did in the second half. Every time they got the ball, it was going forward.
Yeah, but Sunderland had a player in Brobby though who can, like, he's that like classic number 9, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like, you pass the ball to Brobby, it's not going to come straight back. Or he was given it a bit of the Shivas, to be fair, winning every single ball that was pumped forward to him. He was getting his head to it, and then a Sunderland player was then able to run onto it. We
Getting
used
the
that
second
tactic
balls.
we used that tactic under Robson perfectly. When we had Shiva up front, that was exactly what we could do. We could win the aerial duels, and it meant that we can play the ball forward. We also had a player who can hold the ball up. And the thing is, with no matter who we play up front at the moment, we don't have a player who can hold the ball. So when we're attacking, we're kind of needing to build side to side, because what you're going to do, you can ping it over the top for Gordon to chase onto. That's going to work maybe, 40% of the time? But you can't expect him or Waldemar to hold the ball. Now, eventually, once Waldemar adapts to the Premier League, I do believe with his touch and his general vision and awareness, he might be able to find a way of playing that centre-forward role where we can play these forward passes to him, and then he'll do enough on the ball for us to then get players forward and around him. As it stands at the minute, though, I think that the big thing that we're missing is a player who can give to us what Robbie gave to Sunderland at the weekend.
Callum Wilson.
So
we don't have him anymore.
No, I know. I'm saying that's what we're missing.
Yeah. Apart from Anthony Gordon, let me ask you two then. Apart from Anthony Gordon against the Mackhams, who was our danger?
Against Sunderland?
Well, Elanga had the header he should have scored. He had the shot from the left-hand side he should have scored. We were getting him into positions.
But where did we look our most dangerous?
Set pieces.
Would you not say down the left-hand side?
Potentially, yeah. We got more crosses in from the left.
I don't think we looked that dangerous at all.
Well, what you saw in the first half was a lot of information given to Hall to press, and that's what we said. We Trippier in the side, you get a back three, and it allows Hall to go. And what they did was obviously play quite deep. You talk about certain tweaks. The one really gifted tweak that Labrie brought in was to push his fullbacks high in that second half. And what that did is stop a lot of that movement from our fullbacks, obviously mainly Hall, to get forward into those dominant positions to become that extra player. So what they did is squeeze the pitch, and that's what I said. When you create chaos, what you need once you've created chaos is somebody to dictate. And unfortunately at Newcastle, as we said, you know, there are a bunch of hard-working athletes that want to run around and just quite happy to press, constantly press. And the high intensity always gets the ball back in the final third. We never really look at defending. We don't need to defend when you're defending from a forward position. So that's what I said. First half and second half, chalk and cheese, totally different outsets. Couple of tweaks. So you just mentioned to me that, you know, you don't believe in it.
What does everybody else think about that? 0191 916 8864. Get on the phone and let me know what you
Give
think.
us your thoughts. Yeah, give us your thoughts.
There's also,
Game
I just
management
can
then.
clarify. Oh, never mind.
Go on.
No, so I was just going to say, there's a couple of people who've mentioned in chat that our set pieces were woeful. The reason I said set pieces is because we had the Botman header, which essentially came just after, like it was a second ball from a set piece, and we had the Chow goal. So that's why I picked set pieces. Just to clarify that, I'm not saying we were all of a sudden great at set pieces, because our defensive set pieces wasn't great,
But we did
create our most chances from the set pieces still.
Yeah. So let's.
Sorry,
let's
you were
look
saying.
And
No,
that our
let's-
most vulnerable, because for all of the you know what you're saying about tactical tricks and all that, essentially, well, first of all, it was an error for one of their goals, no doubt about that, and secondly, the other one came from a set piece, and this brilliant set piece coach that were brought in, the best set piece coach in Europe,
Supposedly,
allegedly at
yeah.
the time, appears not. Although, again, if you look at the stats, we are third in the league for goals from set pieces. So the
Yeah, it's
attacking
crazy, yeah.
side is working, but the defensive side is most certainly not working.
Yeah. So let's have a look at
You could say that
another
about a
one.
lot of areas of our game this season.
Indeed.
Yeah, exactly. That's been heavily critiqued this season under Sir Edward. Game management. Why do we collapse so quickly? And why can't we slow games down? Why can't we take that control? Because, you know, you've mentioned it. I mentioned it yesterday. 22 points from a winning position. Good teams are able to utilise the ball and make opposition work harder to get that ball back. Newcastle, it always looks like they're kicking around a hot potato. It literally is. It's like too hot to handle, and under a bit of pressure, they lose their head, they lose their attention span,
Pass it
and a little
backwards.
bit. Well, it doesn't matter which way you pass it, as long as you retain
No,
it.
but that's the point. They pass it backwards. As soon as they had a bit of pressure, oh, right, got to get rid of it, and it goes backwards, and then he's under pressure, it goes backwards again, it ends up with Ramsdale kicking it to one of the two on the wings. And then we're back under pressure again. I would love to see we're going along at times instead of.
I've got two columns in front of me, right? And unfortunately, I can't utilise the middle column because
Is one of
when I
them
say
on
I've
your
got-
microphone?
I've got
Oh, you
two
mean
columns.
Okay, forget it.
Well, this is how I feel under Eddie Howe, and forgive me for those that don't agree with it. This is my opinion. There's two columns under Eddie Howe. We either look brilliant or we look wide open. We've never really looked in general control of our own destiny under Eddie Howe. That's what I said. You're either fantastic and everybody's doing the same thing, or there's 11 players that look like they've never played football together in their lives. But we've never looked as though we can control the moment.
No.
Is that your thoughts, or is that just something that I see?
It's certainly a valid thought, absolutely. Yeah, because we can't. They're going about players' technical ability. How much technical ability do you need to pass a ball 10 yards accurately? And then you're on about our athleticism and running all that. We do not run to make space But, you don't see players running into a space where they can receive the ball. It's just automatically.
That's been one of my biggest gripes this season.
It's either pendulum, it would just go left to right, gradually getting further and further back, or we shove a ball up the wing, hope somebody's going to catch it. And that was the other thing on Sunday, by the way. The telepathy, or shall we say a lack of telepathy, between Trips and Alanga was farcical. And then when Willock came on, that run that he
down
got
the left-hand side.
down the left-hand side, that
And he
was
kicks the
just
ball out.
the icing on the cake. Clean through. Yeah. He's just got to push the ball in front of it, run onto it. While screaming would have been 4-on-2, and he kicks the ball with his first touch, kicks the ball into touch. That was right in front of me. I was going ballistic.
Yeah.
And that is just so typical. Alanga's done the same time and time again when he overruns the ball over the byline. And it's...
So this is what's frustrating as well, because both Alanga and Willock...
Oh, there she was gone.
Oh, hello. Where you at?
Both Alanga and Willock, to be continued.
To be continued. Oh, she's back.
There
you go.
And
she's back. Pudding. What was you saying about Alanga?
Both Alanga and Willock.
So both Alanga and Willock on their day look like fantastic players. Like, we've seen amazing performances from Willock. We've seen a couple of bright sparks from Alanga, where he's looked like a baller. And then we have other games like Willock, for example. I mean, the last few games he's played, he really started looking like he was finding his stride again, and we're going to get the good old Willockinho that we had like a couple of years ago. And then against Sunderland, I mean, he's went absolute wild with that run down the left. He made absolute no real solid effort to put a tackle in just before Sunderland scored their goal. Like, it's a little bit weird and frustrating that we've got players who can look brilliant one second and then look absolutely dire the next.
Excuse me, we've got Wazza on the line. How are you doing, Wazza?
Wazza!
Hello. I'm not very well at the minute, but I thought I'd come on because I just had a little thought in my head, just thinking how desperate we are for a strike at a focal point. When people are talking about robbery, well, he did. Yeah. He held the ball up and was strong. And it takes me, daylight robbery, that's the one. And the fella, I remember Aubameyang, he done the same thing that way as well. That strength and that, and I was thinking that's what we're crying out for. Somebody who can hold the ball, somebody with a bit tenacity to take it on and have a shot himself, somebody with a confidence, And we haven't got that.
I think the problem is that the team's set up, buddy, for runners, isn't it? The team isn't set up to be held, because what they're looking for is the ball, the middle, to play off the shoulder. So what you get then is a totally different footballer. You've got an athlete. You haven't got that. I mean, you look at, our raw strength up top. You'd probably say, hand on heart, Asula is probably our strongest player, strength-wise. Doesn't show a lot, does it?
Yeah, but that's the point I'm trying to make. I mean, if people are supplying crosses, and we're very, very good at crosses because we've got the best cross rate in the whole country, do you know what I mean? Why are we having that focus? Why aren't we having the focus on somebody in that position to receive the cross? Well, the Mortar he doesn't anticipate things coming into him. He doesn't. There's nobody running onto them. There's even a midfielder who, like Rob Lee or something, or Gary Speed, coming in on them. You know what I mean?
What would you give? Somebody's put in the chat there, was that? What would you give for Mitrovic?
Say that again.
What would you give to have Mitrovic back?
Somebody who was solid up in the air.
I wasn't a great fan of Mitrovic, but he was game. Put it this way, if we had been playing him on Sunday, we would have had a whole lot more chances. You know what I mean? And we would have really unsettled them. But no, I don't know. I think we're crying out for a striker, and we've got to forget about the losses. You know what I mean? The fact is, we're both two players that don't fit in, that don't do what we want them to do, and yet we've got all the players around that can supply. So maybe the fact is, like, they've given up. They've given up. Whether this same, well, what's the point? You know what I mean? We're getting here and we're going to cross the ball. There's nobody to cross it to. You know, it can be disheartening for those that are supplying, not just for the ones that want to take. Because
you're right, Dan. But you talk about decision making.
The manager actually went out. You know, at this point, down to the manager, because I'm sure he can get something better out of what we've got. Because we haven't got a crock. We've got a good set of players. Surely, you know what I mean? We should be like at least fighting for like fifth, sixth players still.
Yeah, you could certainly argue that. The whole point is that in the summer, when we're looking for a striker, we're at the time, it was to play alongside or be a replacement for Isaac. And Pedro is exactly that sort of player that you're talking about, because he can hold the ball up. He can handle himself when he's surrounded by a couple of tough defenders. We didn't get him. We tried for Ekatike.
We didn't get him. I know, but when that's just the circumstances. Them were the circumstances we're dealing with. And I don't think there was anybody accomplished enough who was in charge in any position to make proper decisions. We should have kept our powder dry if we couldn't get anybody who we actually thought was going to fit in.
Well, except that if we'd done that, we literally would not have had a striker to start the season with.
But then again,
because Wilson had already gone and Isaac had gone.
No. We would have had the same strikers that we are using now as Sula and Gordon. Think about it. Because the other ones are surplus now. The ones we brought in are surplus.
Well, so that's where we would have been, where we are now.
Yeah, but then again, we wouldn't have spent that money, would we? It was rash. It was bad decision. We wasted the money, and I think that's what's getting on everybody's news. I don't look at money as being a main problem, because it's not my money. It's not your money. You know what I mean? It's a case of the fact is we can't buy another striker now. We could have put all the eggs in one basket and just got somebody really, really good, somebody we shouldn't have. But then again, the problem is the wages.
Yeah, but I think if we'd got the Isaac money in, up front, that would have helped pay towards the wages.
Well, it would have, but then again, it falls to circumstances and people in charge that didn't make the right decision.
Yeah, that's right.
Or they weren't in the position to make the right decision. So, like I say,
that's water under the bridge now. We are where we are. And we've just got to make the most of it.
The turmoil, it's left with the way we are. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. I
Anyway,
hope you're feeling better soon, Sunshine.
I'm getting to. I've just come back from 6 hours in the RVI, so I'm not a club at the minute.
Oh, bless you.
I've seen the headline. I've seen the headline that Newcastle, you know what I mean, getting sold and that. And I thought, what the hell's going on now? So I don't know what's brought that up.
Well, I don't know.
Me and you buy it, was I? Me and you putting money together. With all that money you're saving on them sandwiches you're no longer eating, she'll put money together and buy the club.
Love to, Tina. Honestly, I think we'd do a better job, to be honest.
Hey, worth a crack at it.
You could be the new Amanda, couldn't you?
There you go.
Anyway,
all the best, Sunshine.
Thanks for calling, was.
Thanks for calling, was.
All have dreams.
Keep the faith. Keep the faith, sir.
Indeed.
Take care, was. I hope you feel better
Zach,
soon.
for coming on board. Say, bless him, he spent 6 hours at the RVI. Like I say,
What a
I hope
lad.
gets
But
better soon.
he's got a good
Well,
point.
let's get on to-
Oh, sorry.
Squad you.
Under what, sorry? Oh,
We've looked at players
Oh.
not utilised. Same players being run into the ground.
well,
or
well
they're barely getting a
just
sniff.
can I just go back to before, just as what I was ringing in, Tina was on about Willock and how he's had
Go
good
on.
games. Again, Mysterious would had that great game against Chelsea with Willock being as good as anybody on the pitch.
Yeah.
And then he drops him against Barca.
Yeah,
You know,
I think there's a lot of question marks about that. Squad selection for
Tonali wasn't
Barcelona.
available, so it was Wissa and Ramsey against Chelsea. Did a great job.
Is it me or are you, bro?
It's you. Wissa and
Everybody
Ramsey
seems
did.
to be. Yeah, everybody
and
seems to be jumping up and back on.
We're all on. It's you that's jumping on and off.
Is it me?
For some
Right, there you
reason.
go. I was gonna say,
So
know.
yeah, like I say, Wissa
But
and
when do
Ramsey
you think?
play well, and then it's the same old, criticism, if you like, that's laid against Eddie. As soon as one of the chosen few is available, they're automatically back in the team, regardless of how well their replacements have performed. So Tonali unavailable for Chelsea. Willock and Ramsey do a great job. Tonali gets back fit again, straight in for Barca. Willock drop, despite having a very good performance.
I don't know if anybody's seen the fracture on Botman's face. It's a hell of a whack that he took to his left cheek.
I still haven't seen what actually caused it. I cannot find a clip of that.
Yeah, he's got a
incident at all.
concavement to the cheekbone, which obviously
It's never a good word to have when it comes to anything on your face.
No, it's not. And it's right by the eye socket, and I mentioned it. Anything around there needs to be dealt with really urgently, and luckily it has been. So it'll be good to see if he can get back. I say now it's plated and everything else. I hope for a speedy recovery for Botman, but it certainly was
Thankfully,
a nasty,
we're also
nasty
getting ever
fracture.
closer.
I
Thankfully, we're also
I
getting...
wonder if Botman will be sporting a Lone Ranger style mask.
Oh, he will. He will for the last couple of weeks. Yeah, he'll be. He'll probably be more like Robin than Batman, though. Let's get on to this squad then, because like I say, I've just said same players running at the ground, others barely used. Is Howe trusting his squad enough? And you mentioned it there. Is it more the fact that the said few, because of inconsistency, if that's what the word that you're trying to say there, of the players that are coming in and out of the side, is it just their form, their inconsistency, that is stopping them having continuity within games? Because for me, like you said, you mentioned Chelsea game, number of players we all questioned before the kick of the ball, played excellent, and then you watch them come in.
We saw that
off the
lineup
bench,
before Chelsea,
totally
and we
different
feared.
game.
We saw the lineup before Chelsea, and we feared, did we not? Oh,
Absolutely.
And
Yeah, absolutely.
typical
And-
Newcastle, out they go and confound the odds. But
So-
and I'm trying to think. There was another game early on in the season where the same thing happened, where we looked at the lineup and thought, "Wow." In
A bit of a strange one.
If I'm not mistaken, I think I made a pre-match comment to the effect that this is either Howe's suicide note or his silver bullet, and it turned out to be
Was
the
it
silver
not
bullet.
Manchester United? Was it not the Man United game?
Might well have been, yeah. What was
You'll
that?
have to have a
lineup?
look.
Because there was a
that's
couple of
right.
games in a row where we were looking at the team sheet, and I think a lot of people were like, "Oh, I'm not liking the
Wow.
list," and we went out there and absolutely tanked teams. But yeah, that Barcelona lineup for me is the strangest thing that I've seen, and I was going to ask actually when we were saying that, If you think that the squad being changed from that Chelsea match to what we played against Barcelona, whether you think that had any impact then following on to how we then performed against Sunderland. Because, I mean, that team against Chelsea was amazing. Tino hasn't started the game since. I mean, fair enough, Botman and Chow. I mean, Chow has needed a bit of a rest. I can understand that. But, I mean, Botman was fit for the second game, and then Burn came straight back in. And
Just out of interest, that Man United game, no, that was a damn good line.
Decent.
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 Ramsdale, Trips, Chow, Burn and Hall, Ramsey, Tonali, Dre 7, and Alanga, Gordon, Barnes. So,
yeah, Lee Talk
No,
sense
not
is saying,
line,
anyone else starting to have doubts about Chow? He's been shocking for months and conceded as soon as he came on versus Macos.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. And
he also scored, though. That's the funny thing.
I've been called left, right, and centre for having those doubts.
Yeah. I mean, look,
The good
it's like
news
I
is,
said,
though, that we are getting ever closer to Fabian Schär coming back from injury. So that's going to
Yes,
sort those problems straight out. We'll start banging in goals. We'll go on an unbeatable run. Nobody's going to get past us once Fabian Schär comes back into the team.
Yeah, he looked dapper in the stands, Fabs. So let's go on to...
live on
yeah, 13 minutes till the lads come on for the late night edition. Evolution of style, I suppose. And again, we're talking about change for anybody who's just joined us, because that is where Eddie Howe has been, I suppose, questioned. They're backing him, but change must happen. So all I'm doing, I've put down titles where we've all critiqued Eddie Howe for his stubbornness of playing a set way. So the next one, title for me, was Evolution of Style. This is the big one for me. High intensity got Newcastle here, but it might not take us any further. Do we need more possession, more patience, or more intelligence in build-up? What's your thoughts?
Listen, the how intensity is our identity was what got this carnival on the road. And we loved it. Then, third season, when, again, largely as a result of not enough numbers in the squad, because if you remember, we qualified for the Champions League. We signed we signed Paul and Livramento, but the two marquee signings who were going to come into the team, you know, Tino and Hall at that stage were not considered to be immediate replacements for Trippier and Byrne, who'd formed the best defence in the league just the previous season. So we signed Tonali and Barnes to bolster that squad, and they were both unavailable for virtually the season. Tonali because of his ban, and Barnes because of his broken toe or whatever it was. Turf toe, you called it, didn't you? Yeah, Gary? Turf toe. So they were completely unavailable, which meant that the squad then was down to the Bruce remnants and what we'd recruited post-takeover. That resulted in numerous games and the highest injury list we have ever known in our history, that any club's ever known in their history. And even then, with our intensity as our identity style of football, we finished 7th, which in any other season would have been guaranteed Europe. But because Man United, who finished outside the top 7, won the cup, they got our place.
They got it. Yeah.
So
the problem with the intensity, which is great, and I 100% agree. I've loved watching Newcastle United play that press, that high intensity, that absolutely. I mean, it's exciting to watch.
Blue
It makes you
teams
feel
away.
really proud. Yeah, it was unstoppable, and I think when we don't have Europe, that works. I think when we're playing 2 games a week, sometimes 3 games a week, that's why we started trying to tweak things this season. And that's where we were at. When we're talking about evolution and transition and all that, that's where we're at. We can't play that high intensity football. Like, you look at the teams who play in Europe quite consistently, none of them have that. And I think that's what made us stand out when we started doing it, is the fact that we were the only team of the big names, if you like, in Europe who were playing that style of football. And I think when we either need a massive squad to be able to do that, or we need to find a way of balancing it where we have a bit of sit back and then we go on. But it needs to be done as a team unit. Like, you look at like Liverpool, for example, or Manchester City, like, they can control the game, pass it around a bit. They almost play like very slow football, and then all of a sudden, bang, they're on the attack. They've just scored 3 goals past you. Like, that's the balance that we need to find now. And
Yeah,
and,
but
and
do you
I
not
think,
find? Do you not find though, Tina? And again, you know, you guys watch the games as I do. And the one thing that I find different to our setup compared to anybody else's is you're absolutely right. The teams can look as though they're doing, you know, some really nice work. You know, one ball through the middle and they're already, you know, attacking you. One thing I've noticed with Newcastle though, at times, that 5 or 10 yard ball seems just to go out of play, you know, and I don't know whether it's an anticipation by the likes of Tonali, who's expecting a player to move 5 or 10 yards forward on the diagonal as you give and go. But I just find sometimes Newcastle, as much as the intensity as we do, sometimes don't look as though we've played together at all. We've not trained together, you know, so you talk about, you know, controlling a game, and that's where good teams win games, because they take the steam out of it. I mean, the key one for me was Barca at home when we lost 2-1. That to me was an absolute... Yeah, I mean, it was 2 great goals from Rashford. I'm not going to deny that. Newcastle did get one back, but it was the way they took the steam out of the game. Everybody had time, you know, De Jong and Pedri in that midfield. It was just simple. And Newcastle were running round to try and get that ball back. And Newcastle just don't seem to have that idea. And when we do, like I say, we don't have players that read the situation. They become statues. They don't actually move to receive the ball back 5 or 10 yards. So you're absolutely right. Intensity is part, but there has to be another identity at times. Else we are literally going to find ourselves back in where we are. Connor.
By the way, I've just because I've been racking my brains thinking about what was the game when at the start of the game when I said it's either a suicide note or a silver bullet, and it was Tottenham away when he played Trips, Chow, Botman, and Burnett left back with Lewis Hall on the bench, Willock, Bruno, and Ramsey with Tonali on the bench, and Alanga, Gordon, and Barnes with obviously Voltemada and Wisser on the bench. And of course, we won.
yeah,
Comedy nominator? No, Tonali.
Let's start not hating on Tonali. There is a good point, actually, just to finish up what I was saying before about that intensity, though. Just before we move on, my apologies for coughing, that snuck up on me. Travoy Stevens actually did mention something in the chat there, which is Liverpool used to play that style in a club, so they did have the gegenpress, and I think they had the balance absolutely perfect, because they were very intense for high portions of the game, but were able to carry that on through, you know, through not tiring themselves out. They found the perfect... And I mean, the problem is they've got such great players, and obviously Klopp was a very, very experienced manager who'd had a lot of years at the club by that point. Somebody want to do the super chat, or should I read
Wow, Darren Mills, on super chat, thank you very much. I look forward to seeing all the people who have slaughtered Ed get the upcomings when it all goes wrong, when we go through manager after manager. Well done, people.
Yeah,
that's
literally the words
what scares me.
The words of Rooney, wasn't it? Sometimes be careful what you wish for when Rooney was doing.
It's the hope that kills you.
Yeah,
That
sometimes,
does
like
worry
I
me
said,
because-
it's a gamble either way. Sorry, Ted. Let me just, because I'm looking at the time, sweetheart. Bear with me a second,
go.
because
Rock on.
Connor's put in there. He says, "What if Howe stays? Right, you give him 12 games of the season 26-27, and the team's playing poorly. Do you keep him till the end of the season, or do you say, lad, you've had your chance?"
No, I think that would be a perfectly fair thing to do if by then he hasn't gone. Because I think the most likely scenario right now, in my opinion, is that he'll walk. That's honestly what I think will happen.
I couldn't see that happening.
And
But then again, I mean,
the argument
see a
is
lot of things happen, that's why I
it
wear glasses.
shouldn't be down to him whether he wants to walk or not. That PIF should be making up of.
Yeah,
The
so
board should be making these.
I'm going to split the room in the chat now, and this is where I would imagine there's going to be more Eddie Howe side, but there's going to be a few on the others. Let's see where we are with these next couple of minutes. It's easy, very easy to point at the manager, but are the players good enough? Are they executing the instructions properly? Because there's times I don't think they are. Has recruitment actually kept pace with ambition? So I'm going to split the room. Howe or squad? Good enough, either or. A or B, whichever way you want to do it. A for Eddie Howe, B for the squad. Throw it out there in the chat before the lads come on for the late show. And who's more responsible right now? How are the players? That's what I want to ask you too. Who do you think is more responsible? Do you think Eddie Howe sets the tactics out there that confuses, and we talk about lost in translation, and that's got nothing to do with what language you speak. It's just sometimes the tactical notes that players have. Some are very, very aware of their surroundings, aware of other players around them. Voltemada at times looks really good when he's getting tightly marked. He's got that one-touch technique to play it out. But when it's not going right, it looks bad. And I think that is the trouble. Sometimes when things just aren't happening for you as a player, you've got to try and stop and maybe take more control of that moment and keep the ball. Too many times against the Mackhams, those little flicks weren't going to where it should have been going. Was that his fault, or was it the fact that the players just weren't, communicating with what Eddie Howe was asking for from his moment? That's just an example. But what's your thoughts?
Like I say,
is it more on Howe or the players?
On Sunday, the players for me just didn't give enough.
Chat's mostly going with B, by the way.
What's that, sorry?
Yeah.
The chat's mostly going with B.
Which can't remember.
Which the players?
B, the players.
The players.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a part of me.
I thought chat would have mostly.
There's a lot of that makes sense, because, like I say, you see what we can do. And when I say it makes sense, it doesn't make sense when you're trying to push players across 4 competitions, to max out everything. You can't do that, not with the squad that we have. That's why I said sometimes you've got to start saying what is realistic and what is just a dream. It would be a dream to be able to get to the end of all those competitions, but realistically, is it likely? No, it's not. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you very
Chris
much
looking
to
super
everybody.
cool.
Yeah, and
I
I say,
with the shirt there. I respect it.
Of course.
I am going
Dress to impress. Dress to impress.
absolutely.
You never know. You never know when you're gonna be having to make a deal. So God knows Newcastle United needs to make a deal to get the training ground sponsored. But anyway,
yeah, absolutely. So here it is. Here we land. Eddie Howe is back. The dressing room hasn't turned. The board hasn't panicked. But the message is crystal clear. This cannot continue as it is. No more predictability. No more stubbornness. No more getting exposed when it matters most. This is not about evolution, because if he adapts, he leads the next era. If he doesn't, well, we all know how football works. Until the next time, there we're the lads.
Ciao, ciao.
Away the lads. It is the late night show. Do not go anywhere, ladies and gents. Don't go anywhere. Late night show starting now.
You are listening to NUFC NUFC Talk Radio. The voice of the Toon Army. Live daily on the website, on YouTube,
on the AB,
and on every online radio directory.
NUFC Talk.
The voice of the Toon Army.
It is the voice of the Toon Army, ladies and gents. 9:30 p.m. in the United Kingdom of Great Britain, North Ireland, South Ireland, Guam, and Cyprus. Where you guys got Cyprus too? Oh my God, man, that's
part of the
criminal.
Commonwealth.
Cyprus.
Anyway, it's
The other end of
unbelievable.
the Mediterranean.
Man, what else you got, man? Come on, man. Just talk about having some real estate. Anyways,
Falkland Islands.
The Falkland. Ooh, the Argentina.
Jersey and Guernsey.
The Argentina's not gonna be happy about that one. Where's the booze? The booze are. Ladies and gents, NUFC Talk live here. Hit the like button, smash that like button. We're going all the way to 11 p.m. UK, so stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. If you thought it was over, well, you are 100% wrong. We're still going strong, and we're going to be talking about the main thing to talk about, really, which is, Richard Kiss came out with something, and as you know, this is NUFC Talk, and we got to talk about whatever stories are out there. We are in no position to rubbish anything. We are in no position to deny or affirm, but we are in a position to talk about the latest trending stories in Newcastle United or surrounding Newcastle United. So we shall talk about that. But we do got a poll there, though, because that was an interesting question that you guys put up in the early night show. Who's more at fault for our current situation? You got to put more at fault because they're both at fault, players and the manager. But who is more at fault? And you guys were talking about the chat was saying that the players. Well, we shall see. So vote right now, players all day or Eddie Howe's fault, get rid. And a lot of people want to get rid of him now that we got embarrassed by the Malcolms at home. And that we'll be talking about the possibility of PIF wanting to sell Newcastle United. I mean, is that even a possibility? What if? You never know. What if? We'll talk about Bruno Guimaraes. He's been heavily linked now to Man United on a daily basis now, and all of a sudden it feels like or the rumor is that there's a contract already, discussed with Man United. Listen, I know we don't want to talk about it. I know we don't want to hear it. I know we don't want to believe it, but I would assume some of you would have learned your lesson from last summer. Anything is possible, baby. Anything is possible in this world. Sandro Tonali picture with the national team. I thought he was hurt. He's not hurt no more? What's going on?
No.
Yeah, I thought he was hurt. Gennaro Gattuso gives us an update, though. When you know who Gennaro Gattuso is, we'll teach you in the break, man. Don't worry. We'll teach you. We'll let you know who he is.
What on earth is going on in the chat?
Can you stop that moving?
Oh, the chat is not. Oh, what's going on there? Is somebody spamming? Where are the mods at? There's no mods in the house, man. What's going on here? Can the mods do something there? Because there's a lot of spamming. What's going on? It's insane. The chat is going unbelievable right now. I don't know what's going on. There's a virus maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. We've been well and truly done.
We've been well and truly done. I like it. I like that. I don't know. But anyway, maybe the mods will do something about it if they're awake. But if they can, because it was just all over the place. I don't know what's happening. We're still live. I think. So I don't know. Right. So we'll talk about that, of course. PIF, and I want to know Jamie's take on the Mackham game. Wayne Rooney has a message that you guys mentioned earlier on. We'll get the panel's take on that. And yeah, we'll talk a little bit and mention who's going to England, as well as Harvey Barnes, by the way, who got called up when he was left over and he got the call up. So don't forget to smash that like button, though. Help the channel grow. You can send in your super chats and help the channel that way as well if it's the time to do so. And if not, just hit that like button. Become a member if you can, and yeah, help the channel grow. Right. So, well, Jamie and Ian, I actually haven't talked in a minute. So, I mean, Ian, you're first there. What do you think about the game? Did you go to the derby?
No, I didn't. I didn't go to the derby. Oh, God. I sat through it, though. I've been suffering from PTSD ever since. It was appalling. I thought the first half was great. I thought we started really well. Unlucky not to be more than one ahead at half time, I thought. Hit the post. Elanga missed a couple of good ones, didn't he? But honestly, as in Barcelona, what magic, what evil magic did Eddie Howe come out with at his half-time team talk? Because it was just so disappointing, wasn't it? Oh, God. I had less hair than Wynn had. I was tearing it out so much during the whole of that second half. Appalling. And I'm disgusted at the lack of effort from the players, but the absolute lack of any response. We could see it happening in the first 5 minutes of the second half, and there was no response from the sideline to try and change it whatsoever. We got our bog standard 3 switches at 65 minutes, like for like. It was never going to work, it was inevitable, wasn't it, that they would score in the last minute? Inevitable. So I'm very disappointed, Chris. I nearly switched across to the Eddie Howe side after the Everton game, but I'm pushed even further that way after that Sunderland match, because I just think he was totally.
Have you teetered?
So you're not there yet now? That's incredible. That's incredible. The level of subtle masochism that there is in this world is incredible. But Jamie, so you're right now away from work. I can tell. So what do you think about this particular game?
That's right. This is not my funky decor. I'm in a hotel. It was, you know what, Chris? I took it personal. It was my
love it.
It was my son's first time we had derby, and he was very excited about it. You know, and then I think he got a little upset afterwards because I wasn't talking to him or anybody. But it was also my dad passed a few years ago, and it would have been his 80th birthday on Sunday. And you know, like, no one's got a right or responsibility, but I just needed a little lift. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you need that little lift, and it just feels like every time you look at that, they'll let you down. My dad, I'll stick with him. He said once, he said, "You can lose, you can play badly. These fans will back you. They'll be back week on week. They'll forgive you the sins of the previous week. But the one thing you don't do, the one thing you never do, is you lose at home to Sunderland. And you definitely don't lose at home to Sunderland because you don't care, because you're not putting it in." It was like, do you know what I think it was like? It was like an episode of Columbo, right? And you're thinking, what the hell do I mean? If anyone doesn't know what Columbo is, shame on you. It is one of the best TV programs ever. But every episode of Columbo was very formulaic. It followed the same story. You would see a murder happen in the opening scene, and the murderer would be some famous dude from the 70s like Leonard Nimoy. And then Columbo comes to investigate it, and it looks like the guy's completely covered his tracks and all's going well for him. And then at some point in the episode, Columbo turns around and says,
"Just one more thing."
"Thank you. Just one more question. One last question." And that question kind of catches the guy, and there's one thing he forgot. Columbo cracks the case and he exposes him brilliantly at the end. And that is our home games. We are the murderer. It starts out really well. We get like the lead,
Got away with it.
you know, play well, and then something happens. It's intangible, but there's an equivalent of just one more question in the game where they just switch and they start playing like losers. And the one thing I liked from the weekend was the comments from Anthony Gordon where he called them out on that we don't have that spare man over, that we don't have that extra attacker, we don't have a plan to get a second goal. They just run out of ideas. And yes, they've played a lot of football, a lot of midweeks. That is part of it. But they're just bereft of ideas. I agree with what you said. Players at fault, manager at fault, but it's a tactical thing, it's an approach thing. And Sunday really, really rankled with me. Same as Ian, I was annoyed against Everton, but losing at home to them is just next level. And in the region, the crap you get left, right and centre on socials, at work, that sort of thing, just isn't worth it. That's why I've ran off to Scotland.
It's embarrassing. I can only speak for myself. Obviously, you guys live there, but I hear, not trying to emulate or compare. To me, it's irrelevant comparing stuff like that. But you get a gut feeling that your day is ruined, especially here. Your week is ruined, especially here when nobody else understands it, and you just gotta cheer up and you gotta talk to people when you don't want to talk to. You just want to sit on the couch and not do anything. It's embarrassing, and on top of that, it ruins your whole entire week because like I like watching Newcastle's games over and over again. But when you lose like this, like I don't want to hurt myself like that again. You see what I'm saying? I don't like. Why would I even want to watch it? And then you gotta live it because it's all over social media. It's all over social media. Social media is part of life now, whether you like it or not, and it's everywhere. You talk. The algorithm knows very well what to do. You see it everywhere, taking the mick out of everybody, making fun of people, and it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing, especially when it would be easy to say they beat us if they were better than us, but we gave it to them. We gave the game to them, and I don't know what I attribute that to, other than just I don't feel like the manager has a control of this situation because it's not a one type of
Where's
thing.
the motivation?
Yeah.
Where's the
Go on,
motivation?
Ian, go.
One, why is there any need for any motivation when you're 1-up at half time on top against Sunderland and you need to win this? You need to win this to have a lovely 3-week break, come back and do your charge for a late European place. Why? I mean, he didn't. For me, he didn't need to motivate them. They should be bloody motivated enough to get out and do the same.
Well, that's true.
But it's like.
But they were motivated to start, though, Ian.
Diffused everything.
They were motivated to start, but it's exactly.
We saw them start. Was it against Karabakh where they went 2-up after 6 minutes and then they just stopped? Because I mean, fair enough, they'd won, but I mean, they didn't just ease off and control the game. They went for playing really, really badly. They went to 2-1, and it would have been an equaliser if that fella hadn't pulled his leg. I've seen that. Brentford and Everton, absolutely the same. We puff and puff and actually get back to be level with 10 minutes left, and you think this is it. Previous years, we go on and we win it, or the Leeds game, we go on and we win it. But it's like they did all the hard work and then just bloody stopped. And Everton and Brentford get the winner in the last 5 minutes. It's so disheartening, and I'm sick of it. I don't think it's individual errors, I think it's something systemic, something about how they're prepared for a match. It is a bit like they go all out to score, and then they think that's it. In previous years, it was because we would go and get a second and a third, but this season we can't. We take our foot off the gas and end up.
Yeah.
We've done it away from home as well.
In
We
answer
did
to
that at West Ham. We did it at Brentford.
In answer to
Sorry, Lynn, go on.
what does Eddie say at half time talk? Like I say,
I don't think it has nothing to do with that.
Against Barcelona, I would have said, do exactly the same again, but don't make those stupid mistakes. And the same against Sunderland, same again. We were under no pressure at all in the first half of Sunderland. It was a doddle. So really he shouldn't have needed to say anything. And also, as Jamie said, against Sunderland, what motivation do they need?
Well, first of all, I don't think it
somehow.
First of all, I don't think, and you can blame Eddie Howe on many things. I don't think it has nothing to do with what he says. People are talking about what he says to them, and what is he going to say? He's not telling them to bottle it. So that's really, maybe the criticism should be why he maybe doesn't do anything about it, or here's the thing, man. Eddie Howe is a type of man that's just the way he is, but at some point he has to lose it. He has to lose his mind. It's okay for him to lose it. And we had on the match reaction one of the best happy clappers out there calling in and saying, "Look, he was saying, what's he doing? On the sidelines, not doing it. Good over there, no, not doing anything. Like, he's not losing his mind. He should be bollocking everybody. If at least they have to see. I believe that the team is a reflection of the manager. If they are stoic with the way they play, I think it's just the way it's a reflection on the manager. He needs to lose it. He needs to lose his mind because this is you. I don't think you can get any worse than playing like this, man. I don't think that he'll get any worse. Getting eliminated from a Champions League is not as bad as what happened on Sunday. It's not as bad. And I mean, again, it's happened over and over and over. Now to the point where you got, I don't know who Richard Keys is, by the way, but who's Richard Keys? You guys know him? Is he a mate of yours?
He was the main Sky Sports football commentator who him and Andy Gray were disgraced and sacked for in this PC world for feminist abuse or something, something ridiculous.
But it's football concern.
Yeah. They were the two main football commentators in the UK. You could argue.
Okay, so he's got some weight on his opinion.
So they both got taken on by beIN Sport, and they are beIN's Premier League top guys now.
I was going to joke there, but never mind.
So
Jamie, going. Turn the vacuum on.
Is that me, that background sound? I haven't got anything on. I'll jump to the phone in a second then. But because he works in Qatar, because he works with beIN, and because Saudi were pirating beIN, he's had a bit of an axe to grind with the PIF ever since the takeover, and he's regularly said disparaging things about Saudi Arabia, about PIF, and about Newcastle United. So I'd pay about as much heed to what he says as somebody from out of that away end on Sunday for what his opinion of Newcastle United is.
Well, he has. Yeah, so he has said. Well, you might want to get that sorted. So he has said that he's heard a whisper. What is that called? What do you guys call it in England? What's that show called? The Bridgertons. What do they call it? The lady Whistledown. I mean, she's a whistleblower. Anyway, that's what it is. A whistleblower. That's what you guys call it over there. Instead of just saying some nosy guy, talking rubbish. But you call it a whistleblower. That they said that we. Oh, actually, wait a minute. We got Specs. Specs is in the house, ladies and gents. Specs is in the house. So, Specs, it's been a long time. We're going to get to this story in a minute, of course, but we got until 11 p.m., so we got a lot of time.
Can you hear me first?
But we can hear you, unfortunately. Man, lovely to get you on back again, man. Appreciate you for coming on and have your opinion on this matter, because it is some critical times in Newcastle United right now. We are on life support at the moment. And, let me get your takes. I mean, let me get your takes on the situation. Forget the game. It's not about one game. On the whole situation. What are you thinking?
In what sense? Talk to me, bro. I'm big up to everyone.
You've been Eddie Howe in.
How you know? You've been watching me, bro.
Because I know you, man. Because you've been Eddie Howe in for some odd reason, and I'm assuming right now you're starting to see the light. Because
obviously you're right. Like for a long time, like before others were Eddie Howe out. Do you get what I'm saying? I was trying to fight his cause. Do you get what I'm saying? And I'm a big advocate for British coaches as well. So there's many little things. Do you get what I'm saying? But F sentimental, bro. You get me? I'm not a happy clapper. I'm not a malicious Eddie Howe out guy from early doors. I was more in between, but I ain't gonna lie, bro. After that Sunderland game, even before that, but that one there, I don't know, man. I was like, I think sometimes, and it doesn't have to be in a malicious way, bro. It's just like sometimes change, it could be needed for many reasons, bro. Do you get what I'm saying? You can play devil's advocate as well. You can talk about, they called him back early. They put it all on him to waste all this money. But then some will say he had in-house arguments with certain sporting directors, etc. So whatever. But the buck stops with the coach at the end of the day. I think we've got too much runners, too much athletes, not enough technical players or creative players. In terms of, I'm leaning towards him of change because I'm starting to look at things like halftime team talks, which seem to be worse when we come out, or there's nothing. I'm not buying this fatigue business. I'm not buying it, bro. And talking about, the likes of Tonali's out and Bruno G when Scumberland had a makeshift backline and another keeper and etc. etc. And it came to St. James's Park, our beloved St. James's Park, and owned us. 6 points off us. Promoted team, let alone our main rivals. It's not acceptable, bro. And for me, if a coach and his voice cannot get these players up, or just like, it feels like you're just going backwards, bro. Regrets. Like, there's no cohesion of play. I'm not sure what our identity is no more. I feel like Eddie Howe has completely ruined Walter, so is that a panic buy? At times, it looks like he's trying to play at centre back. You can't make this ish up. We saw, I don't know, that's just non-existent. Ilanga, granted, he's got a couple goals and rare, but I don't know if you watch my watch-alongs, but I'll give out lashes and flowers, and most of the players are getting lashes. Tiao, I still believe was our best signing in the summer, but even he's got a bit of, start to that. Not gonna say Titus Bramble effect. Go on, Win.
Yeah, exactly right. Titus Bramble.
I won't say.
No, really.
I won't say that bad effect, but in terms of you always got kind of a mistake in him, but
always got a goal-costing mistake in him.
He's got something in him, but I don't blame it all on him. I think he's played a lot of games as well. Even at the Chelsea game, for example, it just it's like he's lost himself a bit, Eddie. Even at the Chelsea game, yes, granted, Chelsea are not great right now. We've got an away win, and then you bring back the Barca game. I don't want to get into that. You bring back in Burns. I think Burns is finished. How Newcastle got 6 players now in the England squad at the moment in time, it fathers me. Do you get what I'm saying? But Burns and then Trippier's and Livermento, even when he comes on, he's looking a bit shaky himself or disinterested. So there's a lot going on. So in terms of just of change, sometimes it's not always greener on the other side. So a lot of happy clappers loving what Wayne Rooney said, but yeah, he's a baller in that, but I don't take his words seriously, bro. You get me? And I don't like when there's certain people or happy clappers that use this narrative of true Toon fans, we want Eddie Howe to stay in and all this. And I'm like, are some people just bots, or are they just fans of the club and that's it, and not what's best for the club, or not really seeing what's going on? It's crazy to me that even after the Sunderland game, you got these bots or happy clappers that are still like having a go at people for wanting change. Like, you can still be a true fan and want change, bro. You get what I'm saying? And want what's best for your club. So I hate that narrative. But right now, for me, I'll be real, man. I wouldn't be against it, and I can't argue with no one no more ever. Can't debate with no one. Do you get me? Sometimes you might need change. Different voice in the room. You get what I'm saying? And the last thing I'm gonna say, to all those journals, you get me? Big up to everyone, you get what I'm saying? But I feel like some of these journals are nicking the living, bro, because they're not asking the right damn questions, bro. You understand? And when Eddie Howe's coming out and saying things like, sound a bit like Rossini a little bit. Like you keep saying, I take accountability, it's all on me, I will protect my players. I don't want to hear that ish after a derby, bro. I don't think even Eddie Howe knows what it means to us Newcastle fans, this derby, bro. Real talk. I don't think they really know all these players, bro. To come out and say, I'll protect the players. Nah, man, call it out for what it is. Anyway, rant over. Let me calm down.
Well, but Jamie, go on, sorry.
That's just something you said there, Specs.
Speak up, mate.
Some Specs said there that I agree. I'm not sure he does know the importance of the derby. I think he's underestimated it completely this season. There was stuff said after the away game where he said we can put it right against Fulham, and the way that they just didn't seem as fired for this, he didn't talk about it so well. He said Barcelona was the biggest game and stuff like that. I think
you're very low, Jamie. You're very low. I think people are saying you're very low, mate.
I hear you, but it's a bit.
But I do want to know your opinion, because you guys mentioned it. By the way, Jamie has his own show here on NUFC Talk, or the NUFC Comparison, and I was a bit shocked that they were talking about this, because they're happy clappers over there, but well, no, they're pretty good thinkers, and they were bringing up to me that's a massive bomb. That's a massive bomb. To say that the manager doesn't know the derby, that he doesn't know it, he doesn't know it. I listen. Coming from you guys, I respect it. Jamie, go. You still might be low though. I don't know. Go on.
I've moved it a bit closer. Sorry, because I'm away, I don't have my mic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think some of the noises he made before and after both derbies suggest that he didn't really get the importance of the game, and it didn't come through in the team at all. Exactly what Speck said there. It was just, I think he thinks of it as a bad result in the same way as Brentford and Everton were bad results. Maybe worse because, yeah, they're a newly promoted team. But I don't think he's bought into the derby thing, because a lot of people have said on here it's just another game, and it fundamentally is not. Ain't nobody out there who feels like they've just lost another game this weekend.
Yeah, that's the issue. Thank you, Watson, for the super chat. By heavens, that Ilanga can. I don't know what that means.
Enough talk.
You hearing that? I look like a lango. Like.
Ilanga.
We don't all look the same, man. But yeah, I hear it.
But no, you do. You look like a bit. Ilanga looks like Madueke to a little bit, by the way.
Yeah, you got the headband and whatnot.
Yeah.
You look like Turtle from Entourage. Did you ever watch that show?
No, I never watched that. But I think I look like Al Capone right now. I'll take that. Sean joining us right now as well. Sean from County Durham. How are you, mate?
I'm doing all right, thank you.
Man, do you look at these contracts? Jamie all the way low, Sean all the way up here. We are destroying people on radio right now, but it's all right. So what do you think, Sean? I mean, what do you make of it? I mean, you must be having a tough time over there in County Durham. I mean, it must be criminal to walk around, man.
Well, yeah, it's been a bit of not a good show. It's all, like I said, I've got a few Sunderland fans and they're just laughing it and loving it. Like, the same, we've came back, we've done the double on you. First time back in the Premier League for so long. And they even said there was no ambition. There was no heart from us. Like, there was no fight. Like, you know what I mean? I felt when that goal went in, it's like I think Sunderland came where they didn't want to lose. Like, that's how it felt to start off with for the first 15 minutes. I thought, oh, we'll get it. And as soon as that goal went in, Sunderland seemed to want it more. After that, it just seemed Sunderland were like, we can get something from this game. And then it just went oblivious. So
yeah, now. So let's dive into, because we got a few things to talk about here. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's true. I mean, some people obviously not gonna believe it. But Richard Keys came out talking about he's heard some people, or PIF really, within PIF, saying that they would be interested in selling the club. I mean, of course, all of us wouldn't want to think that's true. But what if? The what if is always there. We don't know. We don't know for sure. You know, what would you... I mean, it doesn't make sense because, I mean, I don't know. I don't think that they've gotten what they could get financially from the club yet. Or maybe they get, because the club is worth over $1 billion now, if I'm not mistaken. When they bought it, it was, 300 million, 400 million, I think. Not even that, 300 million maybe? Or something around there, if I'm not mistaken. And so maybe they'll make, obviously they make a massive profit if they wanted to look at it that way, but it's certainly not the potential that you think Newcastle United could have. I mean, what would you think? Would it, if it was true? Let me ask you guys, if it was true, do you think it would be catastrophic for Newcastle United? Or one, because I mean, really, money-wise, they got us on our feet. But it's not like we would lose all this money per transfer window, because we don't really have it. We're living off what we make. So would it be catastrophic if they said, let's sell it to Elon Musk, for example? I'm just throwing that out there. Elon, I'm throwing it out there, man. Put that X stadium out there. It's black and white already. So Win, explain.
Well, I tell you what, PIF, as we always knew, it's a business. And they've come in, bought a business for 300 million, which they can now probably sell the way Premier League teams are being hawked around now. They could probably sell Newcastle right now for probably at least 2 billion. That represents a good old chunk of wedge for PIF. who's going to buy us? My money would be on somebody from your neck of the woods. And join that
That's right, baby.
And join
That's
the
right.
colleagues in the Premier League till eventually we've got a full takeover and they can do what they like. We've already got 11 teams now with majority American company owners. And I tell you what, I think that would help Newcastle immensely because all of a sudden it wouldn't be America v. the Gulf states. It would be then, there would only be the one Gulf state left to get rid of, and that would be Man City. And then what happens? See what happens to those 115 charges then?
What would happen?
There you go. There's a typical win conspiracy theory for you.
So go on, Ian. What do you think? Because Keys here is stating that PIF will be pushing around $1 billion to sell up the club. It seems highly unlikely that a deal is close to being agreed or imminent, despite interested parties. He says, or they say here. I mean, already interested parties. I mean, what do you think? I mean, this is some people are afraid of
it's a massive reverse. I think it's a massive reverse from recent disclosures from Hopkinson, where PIF are completely behind us. They put him in. They spent a lot of money. There's plans being talked about them spending a lot of money with a new stadium, with a training ground. I can't see them cutting their losses and coming out after 5 years to break even, which is all they'd do if they sold it for $1 billion.
No, I don't think so, man. How much did they buy for? They'll be profiting already, man.
A lot of cash in.
Well, that's true. Actually, we haven't looked at that. You're right.
Put a lot of cash in.
But the money on players has been created by us.
Net. The only this is the figures that are bandied about why they're so rubbish. Net, they have only put in about 600 million.
Yeah, plus the 300. That's $1 billion, though. They're
and
not
the
going.
300 that they paid for it. That's
$600.
I don't think.
But that's around 900 million. So they're going to only make like 100 million. They're
going to double that money.
Not really, though. No, they wouldn't.
First and foremost, when it comes to Newcastle and Richard Keys, Richard Keys is talking bullshit if his lips are moving.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to take that into account. And then I can't see why on earth would PIF have bothered getting involved if they're going to cut their losses, break even, and come out again. And we're talking about
let me be
a multi-club organisation.
I understand that, but it's a proper. I don't know what you call me, but somebody asking questions to play devil's advocate. What if this project is a lot harder than it looks? What if the restrictions are too much of a pain in the butt to just keep on and on and on? What if it's just, I thought it was going to be easy. I thought England was going to be a proper country, letting us spend money, making them money, but come to find out, they're not. So
since they come in, it's been Chinese water torture since they came in. Drip, 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 drip.
Yeah.
Yep, one obstacle after another, after another, after another. And they've said,
They
hang
know
on,
the solution
this is
to
not
that,
what we expect.
They know the solution to that is to increase the income, which is a new stadium. It's better sponsorship.
But why haven't they done it?
Now, aren't they?
But they've even been curtailed from doing that with the associated party transaction rules.
Yeah, well, they're getting around it, though, aren't they? They've stuck in it, and they have seen, let's be honest, from a team that was second bottom and hadn't won when they came in, they've seen some success. We've got 2 Champions League campaigns under our belt. We've won a trophy.
Absolutely.
We've finished, top 7 for 3 years running.
Yeah, they've had that good publicity out of it.
I mean, from their perspective, things might not be moving as quickly as they want because of all of these outside influences they didn't know about, but it's definitely moving forward for them. That's why I don't think they'll cut the losses and leave, unless they've given up on football. But I mean, there's a lot of investment in football in Saudi itself that they've put in. They need a presence in Europe to justify all of that.
Absolutely agree.
Quite surprising. Go on, Sean. Oh, sorry, Specs.
No, I hear it. I don't think they've you can question, are they a bit like not fussed of it all now, like the excitement maybe gone a bit because there is restrictions. It is what it is. Do you get what I'm saying? But like Winnie was saying, like it's a business thing as well, man. Let's keep it real. It's always been a business thing anyway from the get go, and you could say allegedly for other reasons. Do you get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
it's
well,
got
that's
to do
the
with-
point, because Chris was
Yeah.
poo-pooing the publicity, but
Yeah.
it was widely acknowledged that it was a big sports washing exercise.
But it isn't. It isn't, because I don't think any less or more of PIF or Saudi Arabia as a country because they are Newcastle United owners. I don't. Because it's
that's
irrelevant.
That's us though, bro. But I'm
Because
saying,
it's irrelevant. Because it's irrelevant, man.
Not for them, bro.
You will never hear a fan walking up to the stadium says, you know, I cannot wait to go Saudi Arabia on vacation. I cannot. You ever heard of Saudi Arabia? What a great country to move
I'm
to.
not talking
Nobody's ever
about
talked to.
tourism. We're not talking about
Some people go there.
tourism.
Some people.
man.
So what? How did they benefit? I want to know. How did they benefit from
That's
sports?
political,
What?
though, bro. We're just,
Well,
we're
my point is their benefit is money. They see it as a great business
Yeah,
to
facts.
invest into, not to make themselves look better. They could care less. That's my opinion.
say that,
Jamie,
Could
go.
care less. That's why
No.
they want the World Cup. That's why they want
Trust me, bro. Politically,
live.
that's another conversation for another
Boxing,
channel. You know what I'm
snooker.
saying?
Yeah, but
Jamie,
doesn't a
go.
lot of us panic? Doesn't a lot of us
Well,
panic though?
Huh?
Jamie, go on. You're the Toon Whisperer now, so go on.
There's it's valid points, right? Because they have had all those obstacles put in front of them, and it has been things that haven't happened like the ground. But I don't think the Richard Keys story should be a
What?
reason to think anything of it, because you're right, the businessmen, if they were going to sell Newcastle, they would do it in a business-like way, not putting a flag up going, we're selling Newcastle, round up, come and get them here like Del Boy in the market. And it certainly wouldn't come from a journalist who has been an enemy to them for years, who works for another Gulf state. So his story's just mischief making. The wider conversation's valid, but I don't think it's happening right now. There's nothing happened lately.
And this is we're not taking. Thank you. You know what? Because they did pay $1 billion for piracy, so that could be taken in consideration for the investment. So that means we're not good. We still for them to make their money is still a long way. So they haven't even earned that yet. And listen, the Chronicle right now, Sean, I'll get to you in a minute. Don't worry. But the Chronicle right now, surprisingly, putting out an article late right now. They must be watching us thinking, hey, we got to rubbish this. That basically the Newcastle United owners, PIF, remain fully committed to the cause at St. James's Park, despite suggestions being made otherwise. And, they back the manager fully, by the way, just to let you know in case. And, I mean, they will not make any knee-jerk reaction on Eddie Howe and plan an end-of-a-season performance review in which the overall results of the season on and off the pitch will be looked at. As things stand, they're not going to do anything about it. That said, Saudi chiefs are aware of unrest within the base after the Mackham game. They didn't put that on here, but I'm just summarizing. And scenes that followed at St. James's Park have not gone unnoticed. So reports on Newcastle United being for sale circulated after a blog post, with Richard Keys and all that crap. And basically they're saying that's nowhere near, that's not the truth. So, that's what the Chronicle is saying, which they got sources as well. And I guess everybody's got a source, and we're just talking about it, of course, because that's what we do. We cover every story of Newcastle United. Sean, what did you wanted to say something there, mate?
I was just going to say, with Richard Keys, he always makes up a story about us, doesn't he? Doesn't like us in fact anyway. But my story is, ever since Amanda's left, we haven't had that voice. Yes, the Reuben brothers do sometimes tweet, but Amanda would have came out and just shut that straight down, so we haven't got that figure in the club kind of thing to say what's going on. So, like I say, if they wanted to sell, they'll just do it. But obviously, I don't see them going anywhere.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. Smash that like button, folks. Don't forget to subscribe and help the channel grow. You can super chat, send in your super chats and your questions or your statements out there if you want to have your say put out there. Although when you can start a few comments for later on for the end of the show, we can go through what people are saying. Now, the big one that's causing a lot of unrest as well By the way, the scenes outside St. James's Park on the side story, it was just during the game. Of course, the camera's not going to focus on this. But during the game, I mean, people chatting, I'm leaving early, because the scenery around St. James's Park was just Newcastle fans fighting amongst each other, I hear. Some booing, the other ones, why are you booing for? I mean, it was chaos. Jamie's mic is knackered, but when he changes to your iPad, and you can tell us, because I do want to know from a proper fan, not like Win, who was just fighting around there, what the scenes were, because it was kind of stuff. Imagine taking your Baron, which he did, and I was thinking of him the whole time, and I mean, you walking around in this unrest, man, it's criminal. It's criminal. I heard as well that the Northumbria police didn't have it under control. They were basically outmanned and outpowered. I don't know if it's true or not, but Jamie?
To be honest, Chris, everybody was just shell-shocked walking out. I didn't see any fights. I didn't see any sort of confrontations. There was something when the Sunderland fans walked past, but you've got to expect that. It was just... It's a tinderbox, if somebody walks into somebody or somebody says something in frustration, it always feels like a nasty atmosphere, but I didn't see the kind of punch-ups that we've seen at derbies in the past where it's really went off. I think everyone just got their head down and just went, get me a beer.
Yeah.
You're right. It was a little awkward for me with the kid there, but it was okay.
Yeah. So a big story is, of course, Bruno Guimaraes. I mean, another ESPN reported today that Newcastle midfielder Bruno will decide his future after the World Cup. He's not really thinking about that particular, not looking to say I'm staying either. That will decide his future after the World Cup. The club are ready to offer Bruno a new deal with wages over $200K a week. It will be the highest paid player for Newcastle United. The Brazilian is likely to wait and see the club's ambitions before committing to the club long term. Will he stay or go is the question. Team Talk has also reported this with other sources. Now, ESPN has massive sources in Brazil. You guys don't even know what ESPN is, but ESPN is a big, the leading sports, whatever. And so I know in the UK,
it lasted about a season here.
Yeah, so ESPN. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to clarify because in ESPN in the UK, you guys were like ESPN. What is that? Another Team Talk?
ESPN is. They got ESPN.
ESPN is insanely big in the world. Probably the biggest media outlet in the world.
We've all got it on my face.
So they have a lot of sources in America, in Brazil, and they're saying this. My biggest worry, and it has been when Tonali has been licked away, when we rubbish Walter Mata, that's my biggest fear as well. And also when Bruno, I don't think Bruno is, the greatest of the greatest of the greatest, but I think he's important to Newcastle United. And I worry that now there is, because I know, Tonali, when you don't like him, Walter Mata, you don't like him, so Tino, you don't like him. You don't like none of these players. But now I want you to agree with me because you love Bruno, that you would marry him if he wanted you. And now I'm worried that footballers that are important to our team are just saying, look, let me just wait what I got. Because that's what it is. He's waiting for another team to come in, a bigger team, a better ambitions, better opportunities, and of course, more money. And what are we going to offer to them? Because you're happy with Conference League. I'm not sure Bruno is happy with Conference League. You see what I'm saying? We're in a situation now where we got to stop looking beyond the standards that we have. We need to raise them up because players are not wanting to stay. Tino doesn't want to sign. Tonali is rumored. His agent keeps talking. Now Bruno is rumored to wait. I'm starting to worry. I'm starting to worry.
Hopkinson. Talk's cheap,
What?
man. We won Conference League, we won Champions League every year. Of course we do. Do you think we're the only club that wants Champions League every year?
First of all, I don't want Conference League. I want Champions League. You stay with
League,
Conference League.
Champions League.
Yeah. So
You think we're the only club that wants Champions League?
What's your point?
Well, because Arsenal wanted, City wanted, Chelsea wanted, Man U wanted, Liverpool wanted.
But of course, Brentford wants it too. Bournemouth wants it too. So what are you on about?
Well, I'm on
We
about
have the capabilities. We have the capabilities.
Yeah,
we have the capabilities
we've
to do
been
it.
punching above our weight for 4 years now.
So are you okay with our best players trying to leave then and leaving? You're okay with that?
Listen, you know me. I've said a million times. Any player who doesn't want to play,
No,
with
but that's not the problem.
Bye.
Because
get what
no,
you
but
can for them.
that's a rubbish thing to say.
Well,
because
instead of
looking at the problem, instead of looking at the problem, if multiple players want to leave and look at their options, I think something is going on. I think something massively is going on behind the scenes that they're like, this club ain't going nowhere. This club is not what I thought it was. So why am I going to stay here and waste my career?
They all want to go. If they all want to go, that's the disintegration of the project, isn't it? It's the project
that's it.
Not moving forward anymore. And that's why, yes, we could let these players who are Isaac last year, if it's Tonali and Livramento this summer, you can manage them going, and it's a good thing because it brings a lot of income in for strengthening the squad overall. And we end up better off. Let's just say you get your 65 million in for Tino and you spend 40 of it bringing Alexander-Arnold in, and you bank the 25 profit to go and get another player. You can replace these players and end up stronger and richer, but not if it's Hall and Bruno and Gordon all want to go as well, because you're starting from scratch then, and you end up with 11 whisters bought. You're knackered, I believe is the term.
That's my point. It's all easy, lads, here, puffing off our chest and say, "Oh, if they don't want to be here, they can leave." But that's not good for us. We can say we are Newcastle United all we want
there's
to.
nobody saying
the
it's good
project,
for us.
The project is definitely stolen right now, and it's time that you open your eyes and realize that something massively is going awry. If Bruno, who you think is the greatest thing since bread, wants to explore his options. Not saying he wants to leave, but he wants to wait until the World Cup.
Can you show me a quote telling me that Bruno wants to explore his options? Well,
have you heard a
quote anyway?
Have you heard a quote of Tino saying the same thing? Have you heard a quote of Tonali saying the same thing? Did you hear a quote of Isak saying that before it went so badly? It was badly managed. When players don't say that. When have you ever heard a player says, "I want to leave"?
I've heard Tonali say.
Tonali say he wants to leave.
You know, he was asked if he could see himself in Newcastle 5 years' time or what, and
he said he can't promise anything.
He said you can't.
He said he's going to take a year by year, didn't he? Though.
Yeah, he didn't say I want to leave.
He didn't say
who says that?
I'm not saying he did say. I don't think he does want to leave.
Two different things. That's the point. You don't want to see that anyway. Let me go with somebody.
Chris, but before this disaster of the season, didn't you see beforehand that this could be a possibility anyway? Because I'm not surprised by this anyway. Whether there's quotes out there or not. First of all, there's no loyalty in football. It goes both ways. Do you get what I'm saying? And the danger was always going to be the likes of Bruno's, the Tonalis, and the Halls, which I agree you can't sell your best players if you're trying to build, innit? Do you get what I'm saying? But the reality is, we're not getting Champions League football or any Europe, in my opinion, this season. And the likes of Hall, the Bruno G's, etc., they're going to want to play Champions League football season in and season out. They've got a little taste for it now. Do you get what I'm saying? And another thing you alluded to before, Chris, which is true as well, which is a big factor, let's keep it a buck. Those players will be offered more money as well. Do you get what I'm saying? To the bigger clubs, the so-called bigger clubs that are going for Champions Leagues season in and season out. So don't be too harsh on Win. Get me? Don't too harsh on Win. I kind of hear what you're saying, and I hear what you're saying, bro. Ambition, like, what's the next step? Because we are regressing, and it might only get worse. Because there will be an exodus or a mini exodus. I do believe that. I do believe one or two, definitely max two of the bigger so-called bigger players, i.e. the Tonalis, etc. They will leave. Like Bruno G, I'm not surprised by this conversation because I was quite surprised months and months back when other players were linked and Bruno wasn't. Was as if Bruno's untouchable. Bruno's not from England, bro. Do you get what I'm saying? There's no, yes, he's passionate, and don't be fooled, bro. When teams come testing the waters, Them
I
man
agree
will
with
have,
you 100%.
them man will have 1 foot in and 1 foot out, bro. It is what it is. I'm concerned about the summer, bro. I'm concerned about everything. Is Eddie still going to be in situ? Are these players tapped out from the so-called project? Do you get what I'm saying? No Europe at all. That is like you say you don't want conference. I don't either. But I tell you, to not have any form of Europe at all is a catastrophe. And the fact that we did qualify for the Champions League this year and we did win a League Cup final, and players still rejected us anyway. So imagine come the summer now. We got big problems, man. Trust me. We got big
It's like
problems.
You're right.
It's like I seen it do a transfer rumour. Like, we're supposed to be linked with Delap, aren't we? Liam Delap. And if we're going for him, Chelsea's going to go for Nick. You know what I mean?
So Darren Mills, a good old watcher of the show. I lost his comment, but he was saying, there we go. The channel is doom and gloom, all about what if. But we got to talk about the latest stories, and of course, it's going to be doom and gloom. Are you kidding me? What situation are we? What's there to be happy about? Win telling me that we're gonna finish in Champions League. I'm sorry, but that holds no water.
Oh,
So where am I going to believe?
Saying, why are you all so upset? Did something bad happen?
The fundamental is it's a reset this summer for better or worse, and that might work out. And maybe you get a lot of those players to stay. You get some good money for others, and you get the right players in and reboot it. But who have you got faith in doing that? Because if Howe does leave, the people who brought the relative success so far have all gone. The people who got us to the Champions League at board level, at director of football level, there's only the management and the senior players left. And we know that a lot of these senior players are too old. But some of those older senior players, I think, are going to have to stay as squad players. But we need about 5 or 6 first 11 players. And either Eddie Howe is the manager who oversees that transformation, or you get someone in quick in time for a full summer. And I don't know what the answer is. We talked about this on Sunday night, and Hutch kept saying, I'm struggling to care, which sounds bad, but it's like, it's just, I'm so beaten down by this season that I can't have a strong opinion either way on what's going to make it right, because it feels so distant. I just kind of want the season over, you know. I think it's been a bad season. I know Derek, you always look on the bright side, but as I said beforehand, we were at Celtic last summer and the news broke through that Alexander Isak had refused to travel because he was going on strike. And from that point onwards, I've not enjoyed it, barring the odd moment like beating Man United or Paris away. It's been a bad season. Does anybody disagree with that?
No, it's been a horrible season. But the thing is, we've been saying this for a long time. Some of us been saying this for a long time.
What I would say as well is, when was the last golden era that we had? The entertainers, right? Now, if you remember that season, this was when we could spend what we like when we're outspending anybody. We can't do that now. But even then, when we could buy who the hell we like, when we could break world transfer records.
Oh, come on.
We came up, we finished third. Following season, we had a dip. We finished sixth. And then we went on again, second, the best of the lot.
But then that was like Keegan, didn't he? We beat Spurs 7-2, and then Keegan resigned because he said I couldn't take the club no further.
If Newcastle United today were the highest spenders, then I would expect them to be winning the Premier League or competing for it or the Champions League. Nobody's expecting that. I've told you a million times. We're expecting Newcastle United to be a team that competes for Champions League with other clubs that are out there, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Newcastle United, no matter how you want to look at it, no matter how many times you say it's not over yet, it is over. We're not getting there. Nobody here, other than you for some odd reason, I think it's your coping mechanism. I think you just want to make yourself feel good. But nobody here has any inclination, I'm going to assume, and we have different opinions here, that we are going to finish the Champions League. I mean, Newcastle United have been underperforming to levels that I haven't seen. And you're going to tell me, we were relegated.
Oh, come on, son.
You're not getting no champion, bro. I love it up to
Who has to get hit by lightning for that, man?
No,
Jamie,
no.
come on, man.
It'd be a miracle to even get conference, mate. I don't think Newcastle finish in the top 10 this season, and I said it months ago. And believe it or not, Cumberland will finish above us. It is what it is. I think the players. I think after that Derby game as well, I think I think the players are tapped out now, man. I don't see us getting a result at Palace either after the international break. Even though Eddie Howe says maybe a break comes good for us and blah.
That's the killer. That's the killer fixture for me now.
That's what I'm saying.
I think that's one game we can win because they're in a mess as well. The manager's leaving. They can't buy a win. They've got a European game on the Thursday before the match, and we've got 3 weeks to prep for it.
Our way from Jamie. Our way. We're dross, bro. We're rubbish, bro.
I think they're one of the only teams we're going to play that are potentially in a worse place than us. We're playing 2 relegation fighters. They're going to be up for it. We're playing Arsenal, write that one off. And we've got 3 home games. Well, one of them's West Ham. But we've got home games against teams that are the type of team we just can't beat. Brighton and Bournemouth, they're the same as Sunderland and Everton and Brentford. They're that kind of team. So I think Palace, we might get a dirty 1-0 at Palace. I'm going to change the prediction.
We can't even bloody win at home against certain teams.
I don't think we'll.
Do you get what I'm saying, bro?
Wait.
St. James is supposed to be a fortress. That ain't the case no more. So I can't. Can you, Jamie? Can you obviously sit here as it stands?
Hey, win. Sorry.
Where's the next win coming from? Honestly,
Jamie, I got a question to ask you, man, because we were talking about yesterday about this game once again, and somebody here that supposedly goes to games started one of the reasons why, he blamed the fans because they weren't up for it in the second half. Do you hold? You did. Do you hold the same opinion that Wynn had yesterday, that the fans weren't up for it, and that might be one of the catalysts of the derby being the way it ended?
I think the atmosphere could have been better second half, but I think that it was instigated by the team just kind of switching off, playing it amongst the back four, playing boring football, defensive football, not attacking. It never got going second half. Again, Hutch was after blaming the mellow mood music that the DJ played at half time. I mean, that dude's just away with a mixer, but it wasn't.
Might have been Shay Given son.
All I'm saying, Jamie, is that after the equaliser, all you could hear was the Sunderland fans.
Yeah,
even when they were singing "Where's Your Famous Atmosphere," which is normally the catalyst to suddenly, ignite the atmosphere again, it didn't happen. That's all I said.
Here's the thing: do you expect less? I mean,
no, I expect more.
The fans, do you expect more? The team was the fans are destroyed. Fans are destroyed, man.
It's hard that win. I mean, I wasn't at the Sunderland game, but I was at the Arsenal game where we threw the lead away. I was at the Brentford game where we threw the lead away. I was at the Chelsea game when we're 2 up at half time and we're 2-all. So
we are knackered.
Yeah, if we've dominated a first half and then sit back to allow any opposition get an equaliser when they haven't looked like scoring in the first half, you can understand the crowd thinking, here we go again. I want to see something on the pitch to excite them. But that was down to the players to respond.
Well, I'm not disputing that for a second.
But
if you bring it up to a conversation,
it takes
those lads were loud in the first half. There was some fantastic atmosphere at the start, right through the first half, and the response of the team coming out in the second half killed them. The response
created by the whole stadium. Created by the whole stadium, man. Relax. Created by the whole stadium. All 50,000 fans had to be, less. Well, 52 with the Macam, so minus whatever they had.
First ever official maximum crowd.
It was all fans. They don't have to be part of War Flags to sing and shout out loud. War Flags did an amazing job by getting those that tifo up there. It looked amazing. I wish we could pause and talk about the details because I love doing that. But
we'll have plenty of time during the international break.
It's kind of boring now because we got to talk about what's actually a bigger fish to fry we got. And But I mean, Tonali, for example, in Italy, he didn't play against the Macums. I don't think that's an excuse, obviously, nor Bruno. I think it's irrelevant. But just a day later, he's walking around running with Italy. No big deal. So, what was his issue? What was his deal? Does anybody know or heard anything?
He went off in Barcelona. He hobbled off in Barcelona, didn't he?
Yeah.
Went down hard, and he could barely walk off the pitch. I think it was it a hip injury?
They were saying it was a thigh muscle sleeve was the official explanation.
But my thing is, he was running with Italy yesterday, and we lost Sunday. So it just a bit weird because
It's crap. It looks like he couldn't be asked.
Absolutely
it looks
agree.
like
I'm not saying, by the way, and you know,
if I say that, it's because I'm anti-Tonali.
no, but because you only talk bad about Tonali and not about anybody else. I maintain my convictions.
It was Bruno when he went. If it was Bruno and it was Bruno when he went to play at Tottenham, he'd have started and gone off at half time. If it was Burn, he'd have started. Burn got up and tried to keep playing with his bloody punctured lung, didn't he? But Tonali
they
to not
kept
be
him in there.
available on Sunday, but to go off to play on Wednesday or whenever it is that they play.
Well, he didn't play. He trained. He was seen training with Italy.
He's training in the hope that he gets called up to play for Italy on Wednesday or Thursday, whenever their match is.
Italy.
It doesn't look.
It's not like England are playing a couple of dead boring friendlies. Most teams are. Italy are playing a qualifier. They're in a playoff to get to the World Cup. So he obviously wanted to be 100% on that. I've completely forgotten who they're playing, but it's a much bigger game for them than it is for pretty much all of the countries.
Well, that is true because they got No, that is true because Italy not making it to a World Cup for the third time in the row, it would be like it's the end of the world, literally, over there. That's proper teams with standards. When if you didn't know, go on, Sean.
But when I seen Tonali walking into the stadium, he looked absolutely fine. But my argument is, if he is fit enough to play for Italy, he must have been fit enough to play on Sunday.
I gotta be fair as well because I'm getting the information now from the horse's mouth. Well, from the horse that. For another horse and another horse and another horse, that Gennaro Gattuso is saying, quoted, that Tonali will train or has been training with low workload today. So if it's a low workload, maybe he's still recuperating. We'll see if he plays. But it might be irrelevant now because, obviously they'll probably play, Thursday or Friday maybe. So I don't know. But it's just a food for thought. And again, I'm unbiased.
Yeah. Thursday.
I'm unbiased. I'm
unbiased and play Northern Ireland.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah,
that's easy kill. Easy
Chris,
kill.
did you go in the back page shop when you were over here? You'll have been in there on one of your visits, I'm sure.
I went to the back pages, yeah.
Well, that's a big memorabilia shop that's just next to the ground, independent shop, and the company Soccer Stars have released little figures of about 10 of the Newcastle players just the other week, and I said to my boy, I'll take you in before the game every match, and you can choose one. And they're all lined up there on a rack. And he goes, I bought him 2 to start him off, and then he goes, I'm going to choose Tonali today. And I was looking at him thinking, sure you don't want Lewis Hall? Because you're maybe going to want to throw that figure over the wall, in about 8 weeks' time or something. And I think I'm a little bit resigned, when it comes to Sandro, and this is just more evidence. And I don't blame him. He's a guy from another country who wants to make the best living he can. And that agent, if someone's offering him an extra 100 grand, he's going to sniff it out, isn't he? What can we offer?
Well, true, but that's not only Tonali, by the way, because Bruno is rumored to do the same thing. It's all rumors. So if you're going to believe one, you got to believe the other. And I think. Listen, but you can't blame him though. No, or none knowing, because that's you just cutting out the noise so you can feel better. The chaos is still around you, man. Just because you close your eyes don't mean it's not happening. So we can't cover the sun with one finger. I told you already, man. You're still not learning. You can't do it. You
be
know,
honest,
players.
to be honest,
Best
Go
time
on,
to
Ian.
make any decision is at the latest possible moment, because then you have more facts at your fingertips to make a decision from. So let's
The agents make the
wait
decision.
till it happens.
Ian, go on.
I think I was going to say I think Bruno is a better sale for us than the Tonali one. He's 3 or 4 years older. If someone's offering 60 million for a 29-year-old, we paid 35 million for, and that's already written off because he's been there 5 years. By then, 4.5 years by then. That's a good sale. That's a good sale. I don't want to see Bruno go. He's our heartbeat. He's the project now that Amanda's gone. Him. And if he goes, then we are definitely restarting. But on the pure numbers of it, if we need to raise funds, get rid of the 29-year-old rather than the 25-year-old or the 23-year-old or the 22-year-old, and keep the younger players
You
in the
need
squad.
leadership, though. You've got to think of some of the players that have worn the captain's armband. A lot of them will either be gone or already gone or won't be near that team next year. And I think Bruno's very important to hang on to. I also think I don't buy into the sentimentality thing at all. But Bruno's children were born in Newcastle and his family seem very settled there. So that is one more reason, if they can match the sort of wages that have been offered elsewhere, as per the rumour. I think he is more likely because his life is settled. Whereas your Tonalis and Livermentals will just be living in a flat somewhere with a girlfriend and they can just up and move out, you know.
Oh, no. Jamie, I
Well,
agree with you entirely that Tonali's far more likely, Livermento's far more likely. But what I'm saying is, if it is Bruno, and we're all love him, even though you're not supposed to do that with your players because they all move on. He actually is. It's the best sale financially for us.
I think if you're
If you
talking
bring an
just
older
The
purely
player,
on
worst
paper,
sale.
but he's the captain, he's the talisman. The leaders are all going. They're all going, and I think we need him for consistency. Plus, he's
well,
been the best player this season.
you'd still.
Irreplaceable.
well. I'm not sure that's saying much, Jamie. But anyway, you got a point there, though. Everybody looks good in a bad team. I'll look good in a bad team. Anyway, Ian, finish your point before we move to the next subject there.
Well, I was just gonna say on that one that Sunderland bought Xhaka to be their leader. Just walked
I
straight
told
in
you guys
and
again.
has led that
The
team.
way Ian, I'm gonna tell you, you're not gonna believe this. Well, you might because you're a fan of mine. But the way the American Mag has been right this year is incredible. That I shock myself at times. I'm like, whoa, because I said we need to go out there and get Xhaka. All of you rubbished it, and he would have walked to Newcastle over the Maccombs. But it gave us strength. It gave us
But he wouldn't have
length.
got in the team.
Yeah, he would have. Win out. It was swear if I was right next to you, man.
He'd be another Elliot Anderson. He'd be sat on the bench.
Hey, Chris.
No, he wouldn't.
Chris, no,
No, he
come on,
wouldn't.
Chris. Come on, Chris. At the time, come
At the
on,
time,
bro.
what?
At that time, you saying Jack
Arsenal fans didn't want him going.
No, hear the question. At the time,
He had a
bro.
great season at Leverkusen.
No, I agree.
So-
I agree. No, I'm not saying that he's a bad player or anything. I'm saying at the time. It's all easy to say things now in hindsight. At the time,
No,
especially
I said it at the time.
Well, that's crazy to me because at the time, some people would say that was the best midfield three at the time. You said he walked.
Well, no,
he
but
walks into
I
that
wasn't
three.
saying it. I wasn't saying it to
Sorry,
be a
Chris
starter.
didn't say he would walk into the team. He
Okay.
said he would walk
No,
to
no.
Newcastle
Oh,
instead
okay.
of going to
No,
Sunderland.
he walked to Newcastle. I said he would be a part of the team, strengthen the team. And by the way, we could have used him to start many times,
True.
this season.
Yeah,
So come on, Jamie, you got common sense. You agree with me?
I think
And then Maley would have been pushed even further back in the pecking order.
You sound funny. You sound funny, Jamie. You've been smoking too much, man.
Yeah.
You got to slow down.
I think with hindsight, would he have been a good player to have in the squad? Yes, but he wouldn't have got a starting place. You've knocked that hat up a little bit, and you kind of look like Harpo Marx. And when you're seeing Xhaka start over our midfield, all I'm hearing is,
But I didn't say that.
Oh.
I didn't say that though. You see, that's the
Right.
way the media want to switch your words, man. Don't trust it. Don't trust them. Darren Mills, Chris,
would have pushed Maley further back in the pecking order.
No, it wouldn't. Well, but with a proper manager, you use your whole squad, and it wouldn't have been. Again, Bruno and Tonali would get. It's a fact. Joe Linton would get hurt. You know that he's going to be hurt a lot every year. So you could have used him. All I'm saying is they hit a jackpot with him. Great captain, great. So you just got to say they did the right thing. Now, by the way,
it was like us getting Trippier when we did.
Okay. So you want a cookie for that or what? I mean, we're talking about.
Well, I'm just saying that you're comparing apples and oranges. Sunderland, newly promoted team, we just avoided relegation. They got Xhaka in.
You're
run
missing
the show
you're
for them.
missing
We got Trippier in. Xhaka would not have worked at Newcastle ever.
Based on what?
I don't think it'll suit us though. The way Eddie Howe likes to play, runners and
Based
all
on
that.
what? I mean, based on what? You're talking about Trippier has nothing to do with this at all. And I'm just saying he would have walked to Newcastle
did exactly
if we would have
for
been
Newcastle in the situation we were in, which is the same as
When
more or less.
Xhaka, I
guarantee
guarantee you with everything I got that Xhaka would have chosen Newcastle United over the Mackhams.
Correct.
Facts. Okay then.
And
So
where
what are you
would
talking
he have
about?
played?
In the midfield. That's where he plays his whole career.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you a full report after the show.
So you wouldn't have got a game.
Okay. Right.
You're not going to pick him in front of Tonali, Bruno, or J7. And if you're bringing him in as number one replacement, Miley's going to go further back in the pecking order. So he wouldn't have improved the way.
All four of them have been out at the same time though, Win.
Exactly. This dude don't get it.
Xhaka would have
He
been.
don't get it.
Xhaka would have played 30 games in the Premier League, covering for them injured easily.
Yeah, he don't understand.
But if it comes to selling Bruno and buying a leader, by the way, somebody already mentioned Elliot Anderson coming back with his England class now. There's a leader to come into midfield if you manage to have to try and replace Bruno and Tonali in the summer.
That is so frustrating, that, because
in my opinion.
I don't think it's remotely feasible, because he's got £100 million price tag and Man City are sniffing around. We can't compete with that. But we've just been...
When Newcastle and he's Newcastle and he's through and through Newcastle, it would be the sheerest situation for him. He'll want to come back to Newcastle.
And if we did spend that kind of money, our budget had been that good. I think midfield-wise, I think we need a beast.
Not getting any of that.
Well, it would have been a lot easier with Xhaka in there. But anyway, what's shocking enough is that Newcastle United has 5 players in England. We got about 15 minutes left on the show, so don't go anywhere. Is it 6? Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, yeah, I was forgetting. We got Byrne in there. We got Gordon. We got Tino Livramento. We got Ramsdale, who took over Pope's spot, by the way. He knackered him. And Lewis Hall. And now we got Harvey Barnes, who has accepted, of course. He always wanted England. I'm telling them, you should have never accepted that. You should have went to Scotland. He would have been a hero for Scotland and all that. Because after this, he's never going to be called up again, man. Come on. Because it's going to be, what's his name, that got hurt? Eze? Was it Eze? Is that hurt? Is it Eze or? Yeah, it's Eze, right? Eze, so Eze it's not good. But Eze is going to be right by the World Cup. So that means Harvey Barnes just destroyed every chance of going to the World Cup. Sometimes you got to make executive decisions, man. But listen, hey, it's your life. But the fact that Newcastle United has 6 players in this team is shocking, to say the least, from a poor team, a mediocre,
more than anybody else.
A mediocre team, to say the least. We've been. There's no doubt about it. But what do you? That just means that Newcastle haven't been performing, but the players are trusted by other managers. So, it is interesting, though. I mean, that's unheard of.
Chris, I want you to answer Irish Toon Assassin's question.
Chris, name 3 players in the Scotland squad without looking up your phone. Come on, man. Listen, I'm Scottish now, but I'm not. I'm Scottish now, but where's my Scottish? I'll answer your question whilst I get my Scottish. What's that little hat?
Get your baby back, babes.
I do got my baby back, but I tried to play the other day, but we got McGinn. Was that McGinn from Aston Villa?
You're looking at something.
No,
You look at
Google
something.
it.
no, I'm not good. I swear to God, I'm not good.
I
Look,
see you
I
looking
know
at
me.
Southwick, Chris, man. I see you left like that, bro.
No. We got McGinn. We got McTominay. I know that one from he went to Man United and then he went to Napoli. There's one more. Can I put Harvey Barnes there because he is Scottish, but you know. Now from the team, so we got McGinn. Oh, what about that lad from Liverpool? She's older now, but Robinson, is it Robertson?
Robert.
Yeah, is he Scottish?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Get in, baby. Hey, listen, man. Never underestimate the American Mac. And I swear I haven't looked it up. Never underestimate the American Mac. I'm Scottish through and through. I ate haggis. I tasted it, and with the what is that? The sweet potato? What was that on the side? We got the haggis. We got neeps and needs and tatties. And I ate that, by the way, at over there in Scotland, as well as I got it over again at the Strawberry, baby, with my man with the skirt was playing his flute right there in front of everybody. So
Can you not call it a skirt, please?
Well, you know,
you see I'm there right now, don't you? Someone's going to kick me door down because of the heard what you said.
Hey, that was tough, man. I had to think about that one. About the Scottish players, but you know, we got it in.
That was two more than I would have got, Chris. I'll be honest with you.
I always knew that the one from Aston Villa, but I can't remember McGinn. They're all MCs, so you know. But I just had to put any name, Mick Smith, Mick whatever. I was going to land one. But anyway,
Betty's going to be sick of him telling this story, isn't she? As the week goes on.
I'm so excited, man. I am so excited. What did Wayne Rooney say about the Toon? I don't know. I mean, did he tell fans to just shut the hell up and stop whining?
He basically said that care for what you wish for and all that, and that's when he had all that so-called happy camping that were, you know what I mean, saying what they were saying. That's what he was saying, probably like, but but whatever.
I mean, it's whatever. I mean, I don't know why people are getting upset over that. I mean, it's just.
The thing about Rooney is he had his success at Man United under Ferguson, where it worked to stick with the manager and build a kind of dynasty. But that's not always the case, is it? You know, look at how many managers Chelsea have been through over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true, but that's just bad. It's a bad board. You know, one decision you don't have to make just because you're second manager doesn't make you make a bad decision by appointing wrong managers. Shout out to Ian Fleming. How dare you? But we were both Scottish though, man. But I'm on the. I think I want to be a Ranger fan, but I was raised a Catholic, so maybe I should be a Celtic fan. So I'm a little bit in between. The thing is, it just doesn't make. Yeah, it just makes no sense, you know. But
and what I was in as well.
You go to the box and tell the man in the seat next to you that you were raised a Catholic, and let's just see how this goes.
That's it. Waza says, "Bye, you know how to live, my friend. Bye, Chris, you know how to live, my friend. Thank you, man. Appreciate that." Haggis, man, it is criminally good, man. I'm telling you. What is that? Is that ground beef? That's got to be ground beef, man.
It's an awful.
Don't tell me,
Sheep's
man.
entrails, Chris.
No, what?
Heart, kidney.
Sheep.
It's sheep.
Yes,
sheep heart.
Heart, kidney, liver.
Kidney. Lots
Do you
of
ever
barley,
eat haggis?
all wrapped up
Barley
in the sheep's stomach itself.
Do you guys ever eat haggis when you go, or is it just me?
Haggis.
Yeah, all the time. I'll be having it for my breakfast.
Specs. I know you guys have. Yeah, you ain't getting no haggis. You know you're getting that jerk chicken. You know you.
Come on,
not really. Yeah, I don't really eat all that or pork or. I'm a Rasta man. You know my thing already, but
a Rasta man.
Each of their own, innit? But that's not my thing, bro. Haggis.
Yeah, there you go.
My teacher in school my Scottish teacher in school tried to make me try it back in food tech back in the day. Like, nah, bro, not my thing.
No chance, no chance. Sean, come on, Sean. You get some haggis in? No.
No.
Oh, You're not a proper man of the North, man. You're not a proper man of the North. Anyways, let's go to some chats here before we go, ladies and gents. Jordy Dan, mod update. We have sorted the spam. However, we have traced it, and it is coming from Win after visiting the site sexy long time thaiboomboomfun.com. If Win can please be cautious in the future. And in the beginning of the show, the spamming on the comments. Yeah, somebody is getting into some naughty websites here on the show. Niall Powell, Darren is not journos are up. Darren, it's not journos are up his butt because he's English and are afraid he's going to be England manager. I don't think that has anything to do with it, right? I think they just, if that's the case, it's about liking him, maybe not wanting to say, not going to go against it, but not because he's English or he's going to get, he might be an English manager. I don't think that's overthinking in my opinion.
Could it even be because they possibly believe that he could still be the right man for the job? Just saying.
Yeah, but at the moment, really, it's a bit shocking how none of them have really, they don't really criticize him. I mean, it's all about everybody else. It's a bit. It just looks weird. And the only one has been Lee Ryder, really. That's kind of pushed a little bit, and I think that should be welcome. It's Scotsman Brains Haggis, man, says Watson. Thank you, man. More comments here. Lee talk sense. Remember when he said he was gutted because PIF bought us and he wished they bought any club but us, or Richard Keys, maybe. You guys were talking about.
Back to Richard Keys, back to Richard Keys.
Queenie, if Eddie keeps his job, he needs to man up and start being a proper boss. None of this old Gordon doesn't like playing on the right. Geez, man. Yeah, well, there you go. That's part of it too, man. That's part of it. Becca says, where did this level of honor thing when we lose even come from?
Well,
what's next?
Participation medals. That's a very, very
because they're trying to be apologetic that they didn't perform well. I mean, shut up, man. Go get.
That was the worst thing that they could have done yesterday.
No, because they the telling part is that the fans didn't buy it. They obliterated them.
Absolutely.
And
I'm sort of glad he attempted it and got that message from the stands. You know.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I argued at the time. I said, look, this could be Eddie doing it to let them know,
And we got to stop doing that photo after the game, man. It's stupid, man. It just, I don't know. I just see it a bit small time at times. Do that when you win something important.
It was good. It was good. It was really sort of engendering flavor and feeling at the time, but it has become a bit old hat now.
Because you don't do it when you lose, so you kind of. It
worked when it worked that first season when we were winning games and the first Champions League season where we're winning games where you're not expecting to win them.
Yeah.
And putting a great run together. The whole season with 3 defeats.
If it helps,
that's a team that needs a photo after every game. But we're coming from a different place now, and we just look.
But the picture is not helping
56
anybody. Man.
people huddled together because we've beaten Wolves 1-0.
That makes no sense. That makes no sense.
What were you going to say, Jimmy?
If it helps him in the dressing room, do what you like. You know what I mean, within reason. But it's if you've got a winning mentality and you're winning every week. But when you go like 6 weeks without winning, and exactly what Ian said, and you get a proxy win against someone like Wolverhampton, it's just a bit contrived. I agree.
Steve Waldo, sad day for football, American ownership of football. You see what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But we'll fix it up. Don't you worry, man. We'll come and fix it up. Bain.
By the way, Chris, I am disappointed that you haven't commented on my win T-shirt that I got. Look.
What you got? The Mighty Win on there.
I'm a fan.
You got the Mighty Win on there.
T-shirt. Well, actually,
you got the Mighty Win in front of your shirt, man.
I need
Win's got Eddie Howe, and you got Mighty Win in front on your shirt. There you go. Bain, PIF sanctioned over $400 million for transfers and running costs this season alone. There's virtually no profit yet. Darren Mills also says
there's only 35 million of that we didn't pay for ourselves.
Holden seemed happy to be booed and sort of gestured to Tino and cut across the to the field instead of continuing the lap of honor. Well, he probably didn't like him being bollocked. Christopher Hopkins says Richard Keys is a compulsive liar. He always spreads crap. There you go. Shout out to you, mate. Colton Connor, PIF haven't invested in nothing. Only $24 million to pay the wages in Lecky Bill. They put a lot more money in though. You know why? It says
Talking rubbish. PIF paid $1 billion to get round the piracy, plus the money they paid for the club. They ain't getting out anytime soon. I think it's we had finished.
Are you talking about it's coming? No, you were talking crap. PIF paid only $1 billion around the period. Oh yeah, we read that one actually. Yeah, that's right. Shout out to you, mate. Brian Quinn. I think the owner's attention may be elsewhere in the future, given the state of the Middle East at the moment. Gaza says Richard Keys is a Wally. Don't believe anything that Nugget says. There you go. Irish Tune Assassin. Richard Keys. Everybody going in Richard Keys now, boy. New voice of Saudi. LOL. Another attempt to upset our players, trying to make them rethink their stay in Newcastle. Well, that's interesting.
If you come on this show without an idea who Richard Keys was, you've got a pretty good idea now, haven't you?
Well, listen, Mighty Win was telling me he was the greatest thing since life, about new commentating. So I thought he might be something interesting.
I didn't say he
wasn't. He's a TV presenter. He used to present morning TV.
Win, you are knackered, man.
The guy who
Win, you rubbish, man.
Was he or what? Were him and Andy Gray, were they or were they not the voice of the Premier League?
He was a presenter, not a commentator.
The voice of the Premier League. I thought, wow, whatever he says is true. That's it.
The commentators were Andy Gray and Martin Tyler, and they were very good. But he was just a dude in the studio in a bright.
Yeah, absolutely. But he developed into the role, didn't he? He was. Him and Andy Gray were the voice of Premier League football, admit it.
And then they got sacked by Sky.
And they got sacked
by being sexist.
John Brown, PIF will buy Spurs with the help of Stavely, and Howe will manage them. They have an already amazing stadium and can spend $500 million in every window. Ooh. Mark Sutton here, thank you, man, for commenting. It says losing Bruno, especially to Man United, would be a dagger through the heart and absolutely disaster. He's a generational club signing, says Mark. Also says Mark Sandro is done. The body language, everything. His heart isn't in it. Cash in and move on. More comments quickly. Steve Waldo in a derby. The crowd have a job to do. They didn't in the second half. Tenji Vivid. Eddie Howe thinking Italy is more important than winning against the Maccoms. Oh yeah, that's because I think Jamie was talking about it is an important game. It is though, but I don't think that's the case. Darren Mills says, Chris, you will look bad in Phoenix, which would be Fenwick's proper English, but you guys call it Phoenix window at Christmas. I've heard of that window there. It's just like they put stuff and people walk by and see it, right? It's a store or something like that.
Yeah, it's a window at the Christmas, a bit like Macy's, the Christmas.
What is referring to, I think, is a lot of people say if such and such a thing happens, they will pay their backside in Phoenix window. That's a popular
that's true. That's right. Yeah. Jody then, Chris with the hat reminds me of Leo Getz from Lethal Weapon 4. Okay. I don't know. I never watched that, but there you go. Travoy. I never watched that. Travoy said, but what midfielder did we sign that would have been a starter? Ramsey? No chance. Chris is right. How kept Willock? Ooh. You know why, Chris? You ain't Scottish because you wear a frock on Thursdays. I don't know where that comes from. On Thursdays.
It makes sense somewhere, Chris. Don't think about it too much.
There you go.
Makes sense to somebody somewhere.
Yeah, but Angry Noob is telling me I haven't been following in Newcastle United because I don't know who Richard Keys is. I don't know if you know. I'm gonna let you know though, because my Geordie accent might be lying or deceiving you. But here in America, we have other commentators, not Richard Keys, and we don't have Sky Sports, we don't have TNT Sports, we don't have BBC, ITV, the Twat TV, or any of those TVs. We have proper commentary here. ESPN, baby. ESPN, ESPN UK, ESPN. No, not ESPN UK. ESPN, we got so many. ESPN's got so many channels, man. Is it criminal? ESPN 2, ESPN 1, ESPN 3, ESPN College, ESPN Deportes. We got so many ESPNs here, man. But anyway, Old Angry Noob doesn't like me. And that's fine, mate. That's fine. No worries. It is what it is. Listen, it's been a lovely show. We will be back again tomorrow talking about the latest stories in Newcastle United. So join us for that one. And yeah, you know, it is what it is. I guess we came to realize that we're not going to sell, the PIF are not going to sell Newcastle after all. So there you go. Anyways, he going on somewhere. Anyway, we'll see you later, folks. Take care. How are the lads? Jamie, thank you. Sean, Ian, Specs as well. Subscribe, Jordy.tv. No blind faith here, man. Use your brain. Think. It's not illegal yet. We'll see you later, folks. Take care.
Thanks for all the super chats, by the way. Thank you
to the super chatters. Thank you very much.
Brozaic for giving the membership to Balls Amos. Thanks to the Bevis. Thanks to Darren Mills, Wazza, and Tony T and the Flying Crumpets, and of course our very own Ian Fleming. Thanks very much.